Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, back down in the basement with my co-host and teenage son, Jack.
Yes.
We are starting a bit early this morning. You're up early on a Saturday morning. I'm sure you are a big fan of that. Yeah?
Yeah.
Were you up super late last night or no?
I don't think so.
It's become sort of your trademark right now. It's being up very late.
Yep.
You're a night guy. I'm a bit of that as well.
Yes.
So you come by it very honestly. I don't know, banter-wise, what's new this week? You got your report card. I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
You crushed it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
Yes, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you had a mark that was a 98, which is ridiculous.
I just forgot that we got those.
It's almost too high.
Yeah.
No, but you did fantastic, obviously, in first half of semester 1 of grade 10. So that's pretty cool. I don't know what it's new with me. I'm just coaching the senior boys basketball team at the school and your brother's team. So that's keeping me busy. I've finished volleyball and moved right into basketball. So that's been, as you know, I love mornings. So we've had to do some morning practices this week.
Yeah,
So
which is fantastic.
up and at work for 7 a.m., which is, I know for some people that's their norm, or they're up even earlier than that, but I'm not usually, so it was a little bit of an adjustment, but we got through it. And then you're working later today, and you don't work tomorrow?
No,
so we'll
church group.
Right, church group, yes, which when he says that, he means going with the mall to his friends on a Sunday. So what time are you doing that, do you know?
I don't know, some 12 is involved. I don't know if that means we're leaving at 12 or meeting at 12.
So around then. Okay, so we can still stay up and watch Survivor Series tonight, I assume?
Yay.
Yeah, so we'll cover that in a little bit of a preview.
Yeah.
We'll also quickly review, I was going to say NXT Full Gear. That is not correct. AEW Full Gear that was, a week ago today, I guess, right? So we'll talk about that really quickly before we get into our normal events, which is Dynamite and some trivia and some Highspots and Restholds, which won't include Impact this week because Impact was lovely to...
It was like a Thanksgiving thing that no one cares about.
I think like 100%, nothing new, right? It was all recent history and then the past, distant past sort of thing stuff.
And then also like they're giving thanks, like whatever, like the that kind of.
Oh, the current stars saying what they're thankful for. I didn't watch
that BS.
I didn't watch enough of it to see that. So I don't know. I don't really have too much to banter about you. Anything else interesting on your mind?
Not really.
All right. So, because I got an appointment coming up this afternoon, so let's get this party started. We'll get into our first segment where we discuss some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. And due to American Thanksgiving, I won't have any ratings this week for AEW Dynamite. Those will be coming out on Monday, but I do have NXT's, and they averaged 624,000 viewers, which is down 5.9% from last week. Earned a 0.12 in the key demographic, which is down significant 29.4%. So that is their lowest demo rating since the end of June 28th. And the competition, as it is generally this time of year, was head-to-head with both an NBA and NCAA basketball game. So again, no ratings yet for Dynamite. I'm not sure if I'll remember to include them next week. I should try and do 2 weeks of Dynamite ratings if you remember to remind me.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
Remember to remind you.
If someone remind you to remind me to do it, that would be perfect. I don't have... News was kind of light, so I have a few things, but nothing like exciting. But go ahead. What do you have?
The only thing I found was Becky Lynch returning for War Games.
Right. And
so cool, I guess.
So she's on what's the teams now? Sorry, I know we're going to talk about this in the preview. But
Belair, Bliss, and Asuka, because they've been doing whatever for a while, which is, I think, is stupid, because Bliss and Asuka is just weird.
Yeah.
Then Michin.
That's already gone.
And Becky Lynch, and then it's Damage Control, Nikki Cross, and Ripley.
Wow. You sound excited.
Yeah.
I want to keep asking you more questions about Survivor Series, but I won't because we'll get there. So I don't know how I came across this, but somewhere, and I don't think it's anything current. I feel like it was 2017 or something. But Brock Lesnar, so it was Road Dogg talking on a podcast. I didn't make note of the name. I apologize. But he was talking about that Brock had never refused to work with a wrestler, even saying that, yes, he was supposed to face Jinder Mahal at some point, stated he would prefer much much prefer to wrestle AJ
Is that
Styles.
why that title change happened?
So they switched it then. He wasn't, and they're saying he wasn't refusing to work with Jinder. He just made his preference known, and he's Brock Lesnar, so they sort of cater to him.
They did a whole title change because of Lesnar.
I guess. Is that? See, you would know what was going on at that time. I'm just going.
But that started Styles' like year-long title run, so that'd be kind of an interesting thing to do off the back of Brock Lesnar.
Right.
Unless they kind of already.
That's what I was just gonna say, right?
But like, it was the week before. It was like the go home show. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure they had plans for AJ already, and maybe that just sped things up or whatever. I don't know. But then, Road Dogg clarified other than Kevin Owens.
Which is kind of funny because he was in that 5-way at the beginning of the year,
and he's an awesome wrestler. Like, I don't understand what the issue would be. And I kept reading, there was no specific reason given, but I just thought, like, of all the people not to want to work with, unless they have some personal issues, which, knowing Brock Lesnar's position on some things and Kevin Owens, that's entirely possible, but I can't think it's like talent related, right? Like, you should want to work with Kevin Owens, I would think.
Unless it's like something like his situation with Riddle.
Yeah, could be something like that.
But like, I don't know, I feel like I would have seen that.
But an interesting guy to refuse to work with of all the people he could work with. Anyways, what else you got?
I guess the only other thing I saw was Mandy Rose thinks it's time to go up.
I agree. Goodbye, because I don't watch main roster.
She sucks.
That's fine. I just need her away from NXT. Because NXT is showing some signs of being like... honestly, we're at least getting one excellent match a week, and then usually another one that's good. I'm not saying it's like black and gold NXT, but it's definitely as good as pre 2.0 NXT. We'll say that.
Scripts.
Like, we'll get to that. That one I saved for you in the Highspots and Restholds. I told you I didn't even write anything. I just said Scripts debuts, let Jack talk. And then I will chip in on that one when we get there. So I watched some of Rampage last night. I didn't actually get this far to see it, but apparently that's why I'm putting it in news here, because I didn't actually watch it. That Rampage ended with a heel turn that's sort of been teased over the last several weeks. So 10, whose real name is what? Preston Vance?
Preston Vance.
Yeah. Good one. So he turned on Dark Order, also unmasked, and has aligned himself with Rush, or
LFI, or whatever that
right,
is.
the Faction Ingobernables.
Andrade's not even there, so it's like, who cares?
Rush and 10 at this point, right? So,
and Jose, how dare you?
And apparently, in what sounds like a really nice touch, Preston Vance hit the Brody Lee's discus clothesline as Brody Jr. is on the stage looking. And remember,
he also tossed his mask down in front of Brody.
And the whole thing was that, like, 10 was Brody's favorite wrestler, right? And they are really close. So it's kind of adds another layer to the story, which is helpful because, I mean, 10's a low mid card at best at this point, right?
And he's had like little to no personality the whole time.
Yes, very much true. So if they're doing this to really get his heel run going, I think that's a pretty clever idea, and
hopefully he kind of delivers
probably
as much as he could, I guess. Cause
I think he's
not sure how good he is.
I think he's like, he has some cool looking offense, but I find the selling and the not to sound too wrestling nerdy, right? But like the selling, the transition, some of the other little things that
needs to
polish up, but like obviously looks cool, and hits some pretty nice offense. So. And it's cool that it's probably fun for Brody Lee Jr. to be involved in something like this too. So that's cool for him. Sorry, did you say you were done?
It's a slow week.
So in mainstream news, because I watch a lot of football, Penta was on Monday Night Football this week. One of the teams involved.
Did you see that like on Monday? Or?
Yeah, I was. Actually, it's funny because I watched some of the game, then fell asleep, and then heard that he was on it, but was going to go back and watch the game anyway. So I was aware that it was coming, but then I did see it. So one of the players on the San Francisco 49ers, their tight end.
The San Francisco 49ers match.
The George Kittle.
Wait, so Penta could have AEW's first San Francisco 49ers match?
He could.
Do you remember what that is?
No.
So picture a pole match.
Yeah.
But there's 4 poles, and each of them has like a box with like 3 of them are weapons, and one of them has a title.
Why is that called that then?
No clue. WCW. So
I like how you didn't watch WCW and you know that, and I watched all of it.
I think it was Booker T and someone. But yeah, so WCW, and that's my explanation.
Nice. So he Penta met with George Kittle because he's a big like a legit actual wrestling fan.
All right,
So
don't
that
bring
was,
him to AEW.
he even flashed the Cierro Miedo hand sign. So that was a cool little moment. Anytime wrestling gets sort of any mainstream attention is good. And the final thing we just saw before we came down here, because I think it happened on SmackDown last night, is that the case with Sarah Logan's name being
Whoa,
changed?
who?
Valhalla.
That's stupid.
She's now Valhalla. And apparently, the news article I was reading said that that name was used in a series of vignettes promoting Logan and the Viking Raiders' return to television.
Yeah, but like that's a stupid name for a person.
It's
Because that's like that's a whole thing
It's
like that.
it's in the Viking thing. So I
Yeah, like it was in Thor. But like
right.
it's a stupid name for a person.
Yeah. So apparently, it is. My quick research. It was a majestic hall name in Norse
It's
mythology.
like I'm pretty sure it's like their heaven or whatever.
Yeah. So
Like that's what happens in Thor is after Jane dies, she goes to Valhalla, and you see what's his name?
look at you learning from MCU.
What's his name? Heimdall. Heimdall's there.
If
You
he
know
says-
Idris Elba.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Charles.
Charles. What's his name?
Minor.
Charles Minor. That's
Yeah.
right. And that's it for very like weak news. Nothing going on. Nothing controversial. Nothing very exciting. So I guess that's going to wrap up news. And I think the first thing we'll do is take a fairly quick look at a really good pay-per-view
Oh,
from
that's
last
right.
weekend.
We have that.
So we'll talk about
I didn't forget.
AEW Full Gear. All right, so my notes were kind of all over the place. I've got some detailed, some I really tried to shorten up so we can get through this quickly, because I assume most people have watched the show by now and they're just here to...
Anyone who wants to watch the show.
Right, and they're probably just here to hear our opinions on what we saw, which for me is going to be largely pretty impressed, not to spoil my overall thoughts. But so I thought I'd give you a minute, if you can remember, to talk about the presentation, because I think you were happy with the way the stadium looked.
Yeah, they had like the stage, and there's different trons. I think it was like there's like two wide trons. There's like kind of like a vertical one in the middle,
cool.
and then like two small ones. It was really nice because I don't know, I like having like a lot of screens there, and just when it's got like a different look to it, it does make it feel special.
Yeah.
It makes it feel important. Because like All Out was a pretty good show, but like at that, I think the one this year utilized the typical stage they used.
Yeah.
So I like when they do change it up a bit.
When it's just a little bit more grand, right? Because it's an important show and it should look different. I
Yeah,
agree.
like
But
Grand
it adds a
Slam
little
or
bit.
Forbidden Door did a bit. Like I remember that was kind of a different stage. And
So a cool looking set and a pretty hot crowd, right? So I was surprised by the opening match.
I was, because I was totally expecting the trios.
So they started out with the steel cage match between Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus in the opening spot here. So I don't know about you, but for me, this feud had sort of cooled off a little bit, right?
A little bit, because it's been like over a month since Toronto, which was their first match, right? So
And I think it was supposed to be Christian at this point, but
Right.
they've had to sort of hold.
of course that's not like really an option.
Right. So anyways, this one gets underway. They brawl really early. There's definite tension between the two and a clear babyface heel dynamic, which is good here. So Jungle Boy gets run into the cage early on and gets busted open. I think there's even a point where Luchasaurus is like grinding his face against the cage.
He was busted open pretty early, right?
Yes, and it was really early, and it was almost like a border toss into the cage. And remember, he kind of got wedged between the
Right,
ring.
yeah, that was cool.
Looked really cool.
Yeah.
Jumping forward a bunch, Christian. The ref looks kind of silly here because Christian pickpockets him, right, and then kind of does nothing as Christian unlocks the cage, like stop or I'll say stop again, sort of refereeing,
One
right?
of those
Which
things,
is
yeah.
always super effective. So the cage gets unlocked and they fight outside, which is probably my least favorite part of this, just because I don't know why they needed to go out there. You're in a cage; it's supposed to be there for a reason. But anyways, that's
right.
It's kind of nitpicking. So they brawl for a while outside. On the way back in, Luchasaurus brings some chairs in. We end up with Jungle Boy hitting a really nice destroyer coming off of a chair, right? That looked really cool. Each of them hit a pile driver. I think Luchasaurus's was the tombstone, and then he did like the tombstone grip face buster.
Yeah, I love that.
Whatever that is.
I was mad he didn't do it, and then he did it.
Right. And then eventually we get a table set up in the ring, and what you assumed was going to happen, the cage getting involved. Jungle Boy scales the cage, jumps off the top, and hits an elbow drop through the table for the win. It was about 19 minutes. And jump's a strong word. It's more like falling off the top, but he still gathered so much speed on the way down. So it was pretty crazy. And I immediately just loved this match.
The way the table broke was kind of funny.
Really, yeah, it was cool. So like I said, that I thought the feud had kind of cooled off a little bit, but I thought this match was fantastic. I was pretty much in love with it. Um, the build, like again, wasn't great, but just fantastic way to start this show. I thought it was. I really liked it's like Luchasaurus dominating for long stretches, right? He's bigger, he's powerful. Then Jungle Boy shows a little bit of hope, and then like one or two big moves by Luchasaurus, and he's back in control, right? And it really Jungle Boy excels in this baby face fighting from underneath, right?
Mhm.
And so they just kept redoing that. Jungle Boy gets a bit in, Luchasaurus flattens him, sort of thing.
There's like the one chokeslam on the chair that looked gnarly because
Look-
they just killed the chair.
Awesome, yeah. So I love this match. I'm not gonna lie. It's not the match I would have chosen for the opener, but it definitely was fantastic
I
start to
think
the
it
show.
was a solid choice, and now
Yeah,
kind of in
looking back.
hindsight, yeah,
Yeah,
I still probably would have gone trios, but
because that was in a weird spot. I thought
wasn't
right
it after this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So it's funny. I thought this was a fitting end to a lengthy feud, and now it's just
I guess then
wondering
it's like you can just have the cage there, you don't, and then you can take it up and no more cage.
exactly get that out of the way. And my notes in the moment were, if there's a better match on this show, I'll be thrilled, and there was. So right after this,
At least
I
like
thought,
one or two, maybe, or at
Yeah.
least that kind of match it.
yeah. So I pretty much love this, and I guess they're gonna have to. It looks like they're done with Luchasaurus, and I assume they'll circle back to Christian when.
If Christian's still injured, you could even argue a third rubber match.
I guess true because
Technically,
it's
it's
1-1 right
tied,
now. Although
if you really
cages are
wanna go
usually
there.
definitive, right? But
You'd think,
knows?
but that's why it's kind of an odd choice.
so
But
you like? I
also-
think I like this match more than you, but I think you
No, I
liked
think
it.
it was really good though, and I think that the dynamic works really well. Like I think Luchasaurus is, I don't know, I still miss old Luchasaurus, but I think he does work really well in this, and then Jungle Boy kind of complements that really well.
Yes,
The end spot was really well done.
right. There's a few things I'll remember. I'll remember that. I'll remember him get
I remember
Jungle
the
Boy
choke
wedged
slam.
between the thing, hitting the chair. Like there were some pretty memorable things in this opener, and
If it is the cap off, then I think it definitely works really well for that.
me too. So great start to the show, and then surprisingly, again placed here, we get the Trios Championship match, which is Death Triangle versus the Elite. And just to look at it for a minute, this is, in my opinion, 6 of the best in the world, right? In
Mhm.
like
There's not a bad combination of this.
Pac's in my top couple. Like Phoenix does stuff I don't think anybody else can do. There's no
Yeah.
other tag team, even though I don't want to like them, that I would like to watch in a high profile match than the Bucks. So there's
Omega is Omega.
Omega is Omega, and there's not much chance this wasn't fantastic.
Yeah. The Elite's entrance was epic. Like
Yes.
that's something I'm gonna remember.
So Wayward Sons, they do now have
Yeah.
the rights to that song.
Yeah, so it was weird because like they were getting the trademark, then they weren't getting the trademark, and then
They're
they
using
came
it.
out with it. I was like, oh my god, it was cool because they had like a thing playing on the Tron for a bit, like something like "We Are the Gears of Creation," something like that, and then
Yeah.
to carry on, and then it kind of hits like so it's like the arena's dark except for the Trons playing, and then the song kind of starts.
It was
And
cool.
it's this really cool look where it's like the Trons are the only light behind them, so it just looks like 3 black silhouettes. And then like as like kind of the music and the song picks up, they all do like the poses, and it kind of kicks off. It was really cool. I love that entrance. Actually, they have like the full video of it on Instagram, so I saved that. It was really cool though, and I think they actually got me to listen to that song. So
Right.
so yeah, but I think it kind of works, and it was cool. You can see they really loved that. So I think that's cool that they came out to that. Omega was wearing the same tights from All Out,
Right.
which I think look really nice. Like I'd like to figure that, and then Bucks were in all white, which is beautiful.
And why did Penta look different? I made a note of
And
that.
Penta didn't have his vest on. He was Joker Penta sans a
Shirtless
vest,
Penta
which
for-
was interesting. But I mean, like
He's gotten in
change it
shape.
up. He is in shape,
He's
so,
showing
like,
it off. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
crowd is already super hyped for this, coming off of the opener straight into this one.
And the Elite being in return.
Right, coming back, we get anti-Punk chants, we get pro
Oh,
Colt
that was
Cabana
hilarious.
chants right away, right?
It was also funny in cause in the second match in Chicago on Dynamite,
Yes,
the Elite in Chicago.
yes. So super summary of this, because this was 17 minutes of absolute insanity. It's one of those matches that
You got to see it.
it's almost impossible to take notes because so much is happening. And for me, I just want to watch and focus, right? So
I would refuse to take notes on this.
exactly. So you get a Nick Jackson dive early. It ends up with him along the barricade. Remember, he had a sip of a fan's drink, but he
Oh, yeah,
actually
that
like
was
took a
funny.
moment to ask what was in it, I think. I don't know if he cared or they don't drink or what the reason was, but it was kind of because you could see his instinct was to drink it, and he's like,
Yeah,
"What is this?"
it was the thing like where I think it was the thing where Matt does like the wrecking ball drop kick, then he kind of like holds himself upside down to kind of like so then Nick dives over him
Right.
with the the twisting thingamajiggy. So
Right.
it's that cool thing. I love it. So Nick, so like he's got that kind of dive down pack, like the Spaceman Poncha Fosbury flop looking
Nails
thing.
everything.
He like because he did that on Dynamite where it was like the escalator from the corner.
Yeah.
And he did that too. So like he just kind of nails that kind of whole maneuver.
It's just he and Phoenix, right? For degree of difficulty and percentage of botches, it's like off the charts. Like there's no way you shouldn't be
They
screwing
both
these
do like
things up.
insane hot tags all the time, so I'm surprised they don't like
Yeah.
mess it up. I'm disappointed you didn't do like the kicks that I
Right.
like where he just kicks them back and
Yes.
forth. That's my favorite thing.
So we get Snapdragons and a dive to the floor by Kenny. Matt DDT's Phoenix on the apron looked good. Nick, so Penta goes up top, right? And Nick hits a Rana to him off the top onto other people on the floor.
That was nuts.
We got a triple pile driver brought by Death Triangle at one point. Penta hits a destroyer to Matt. We got a black arrow right into a brutalizer to Omega that looked awesome.
I was surprised that wasn't the finish, but I mean, they did break it up. To be fair, gotta protect
Right.
the black arrow.
Exactly. It was black arrow to the back and then straight
Yeah,
into the
which
brutalizer.
is that's
right?
his combo there.
Omega hit a really nice Tiger Driver 98 to
Oh,
Phoenix.
yeah.
That
Killed
looked
him.
cool. And then the finish comes when Phoenix is up in the one-winged angel, and we all know that nobody kicks out of the one-winged angel. So somewhat reluctantly, he ends up using the good old bell hammer. I forget how it got introduced. Probably Pac. I guess.
Yeah, he kind of passed it to him before. I think it was like because he got hit with the V trigger, so
Right.
he kind of had the time there. And Phoenix kind of like you could see him trying to get out, and
Yes.
he's kind of
You
screwed, so
can't.
he hammered him
Exactly.
and then rolled him up.
And so surprising for me,
I was surprised. Like I was just, oh my god.
So Death Triangle retain.
So neither of us called that, of course.
No, so they end up retaining, and then I don't know where it gets announced in the show, but we'll just say it now that this turns into what then?
Best of 7 series. So we already had the second match on Dynamite, which that Triangle also won. So we'll talk about that
Yes.
later. And yeah, so they won this one too, and that's neat. The finish of this kind of spurred the series.
Right, and I think this is smart. I don't think like I would
I'm
love for
very
Death
thrilled.
Triangle to consolidate this run a little bit longer, and obviously with what I'm assuming will be 7 matches, it's going to take quite a while.
And it's like I don't think they ever did this combination of these guys until now. Like I don't think we ever got this trios match until now. So might as well milk the cow for everything you can, because I'm here for it.
Me too. So yeah, this match was fantastic.
It was my favorite thing on the show, easily. It was
Me
just
too.
superb.
Match of the night, and that's after me saying I loved the opener, right? So
and there's still a couple of things that were great too, but this was easily my favorite thing. Just the action's all over the place, and it's just so good. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's something you should watch.
And completely different from the opener, right? So the opener was a little bit slower, and this was
is just action
non-stop.
all over the place.
And also, I was thinking too, the build was completely
The
different.
build
right?
was awesome though.
But it was so short.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There were no words spoken, and then the
No, the Elite
Luchasaurus
were
Jungle Boys
not on TV at all.
Right.
It was perfect actually, and combine that with like the hype of the Elite coming back, I think that just kind of created the perfect storm, if you will.
Yeah. This was just a million miles an hour.
And a surprise finish. Like I think a done surprise finish too. That's sometimes the best thing is when you can pull off a decent swerve there, and I think that was kind of cool because I didn't expect that to win. I thought it was a surefire Elite win. I guess the rest of the 7 series kind of changes that, but even so, if this was a one-off, I'd be surprised as well.
Me too. And so yeah, it's just kind of like you know what you're getting from these 6. They're gonna deliver every time. And of course, the ref lost control of this right away. But again, that's the trios matches. You just kind of have to buy into that, or you're not going to like a trios match, I don't think. That doesn't bother me at all. No doubt these guys worked their asses off, right? And just a unbelievable match.
Yeah.
Just the pace it's worked at. And I know it's easier when there's 6 guys, so you can always find people to do stuff. But you can't catch your breath. You can't take notes on this match. It's just enthralling stuff, super entertaining, and a surprise finish. So. And that's setting up, I mean, at least 4, probably 7 matches between these two that I will be there for no matter what. I don't care if people are like, oh, it's going to feel the same. I don't care.
It's
first of all, it's not, because we've seen the second one, and I already thought it was different. So we'll talk about that in our Dynamite
that may have been a Chicago influence, but it was still different nonetheless.
And just the issues with Pac and the targeting, right?
Added a different
that's
true
layer to
and
it.
I think they kind of leaned into more the Chicago.
And I don't really care if there's 7 similar matches. They're similarly awesome. Fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm okay with that, right?
Yeah.
It's like if to compare it to other sports, right? Do you get tired of watching guys hit home runs? No, people cheer it every time. It's the same thing,
Right.
right? So,
And I think this one will be a little different with the pay-per-view time. I mean, it also
yes.
depends on how much time they get on certain matches. Like if they have a match at like say Winter's Coming,
Yes.
maybe they get more time.
Right.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Like
looking forward to all of like just what these guys are going to do, because I'm sure they're saving some stuff, right?
Yeah, it's gonna kind of ramp up, I assume.
I would think
I'm
so.
interested to see how the Elite picks up a win because they have to at some
Yes.
point, right?
You would think. Yeah. So then this pay-per-view goes into a brief lull. I think you would agree. So we get the TBS Championship match, which is Nyla Rose and Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill, who is Thundercat for this one, I think Chitara. Yeah. So
which is not as cool as the She-Hulk.
I have some brief notes on this one. So Jade attacks Nyla right before the bell, and then so Jade moves out of the way. At one point, Nyla ends up on the floor. We get a pump kick that sends Nyla over the barricade. The momentum shifts as Nyla ends up pulling Jade into the ring steps out on the floor. So then Nyla's in control. We're back in the ring. Sort of methodical power offense and taunting along the way. She drops Jade across the top rope at one point and goes for that top rope knee drop that she does. I always think that move looks cool. Jade escapes a beast bomb, hits a forearm, and takes Nyla down. I forgot this. My note says, because Nyla had been in control, right? And so she's going for the beast bomb. Jade counters it, hits a forearm, and my notes say, and it takes Nyla down forever?
Oh, yeah.
Because she was like, took one strike and was down.
And they were trying to solve that, like, Cargill's so...
Yeah, her forearms are devastating. She like Lex Luger with the metal plate in there.
A go-go?
Yes.
Face forearm instead of a gut punch.
So then Jade catches Nyla with a boot to the stomach, and she actually hits a beast bomb for a 2 count.
No, she didn't.
And then in a twist here, Nyla then hits Jade with her move, which is the Jaded, but Jade kicks out because I guess nobody can apply that hold like the person who uses
she's so powerful.
I guess so. Anyways,
it's like when Omega kicks out of the One-Winged Angel.
Nyla goes up top,
built different.
Misses a senton, Jade pump kick, and a Jaded, and it's over. This was about 9 minutes. Here's me being a smart aleck. My notes say this. Are you ready? Because you're going to look at me like, what are you talking about? This had a lot in common with the trios match just before it. cut to you going, what? So here's my reason. Would you like to guess my reason?
Because it didn't.
No, it did. Because it delivered about what I expected, right?
Oh.
The problem here is my expectations were wildly different. This match was...
Okay, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one.
This match was just okay, right? There were some good moves executed, I think, but there was also like some sluggishness and stretches of just basic stuff. Nyla did get more offense on Jade than probably anyone else in this run, but I don't know why couldn't they have spent more time building her into a monster? Like, have her win some matches
instead of a title thief,
just stealing a belt and running away, right? So have her kill some people leading up to this. It was
kind of lame,
just a little bit lazy, right? The outcome was never in doubt. I don't think anyone thought Jade was losing here, so that doesn't help either. So I just felt like, and this is maybe the place to put it, you're giving the crowd a break, right? This was a bit of a cooler after 2 amazing matches to start the show, and Jade just seems to be like kind of treading water a little bit, right? I don't see massive improvement in any area. She's fine in ring, and I think she's good character-wise and on the mic, but I'm not seeing like drastic improvement anywhere, which I would hope to at this point, right?
Yeah.
What did you think of this one?
It was like, again, the TBS title does not feel worthy of the pay-per-view,
right?
And I think that was the case last time.
Yeah.
I don't remember who she faced last time. I just remember she dressed like She-Hulk.
And yet, just this suggestion that Jade is one of the top women in the company, and should have this belt, it just doesn't seem that way to me. You know what I mean?
Not anymore.
Right. So
it's kind of fizzled out. Like she's had the title all year.
And it just feels like very similar stuff all the time, right? Like attitude in a brief promo, pretty much the standard match she does, winning with Jaded, right? So I don't know. They need to do something to sort of pick this back up. Then Agreed. We move into what I think would be my third favorite match on this show. And that's the 4-way between...
Agreed, yes. I actually like this a lot.
Claudio, Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho, and Sammy
Well, it's
Guevara.
not that I didn't think I was going to. It's just like, I don't know, the tag dynamic. I was just like, I don't know. I was a little concerned how that would play out, I guess, just because Jazz is Jazz. But I think it turned out for the best.
And there was storytelling in here of Sammy and his relationship with Jericho, right? Like reluctantly having to break up pinfalls and eventually having to face each other. Right. So it was that dynamic of...
They actually played it off really well in the end.
Really well. So I thought this started out a bit slow. And
Another
then
match where it's
picked
just like
up.
a great pool of talent in there.
That is also true. So again, really brief recap of this one. So Sammy hits a double cutter to both Blackpool Combat Club because they have Jericho in a Boston Crab. They're sort of
Right,
sharing, and
yes.
so that was a cool little spot. We get brawling outside and inside as everybody sort of pairs off. Eventually, the heels get kind of taken out, and Danielson and Claudio are left alone. So they kind of shake hands, and then they start fighting each other, right?
As Blackpool would.
Right, which it totally makes sense for them. As I said, you've got Guevara in here being conflicted as he's breaking up Jericho pinfall attempts. Sammy hits his Spanish fly to Danielson at one point, but then Jericho follows up and hits both of them with the lion salt. So he's hitting signature moves to Sammy Guevara now. So that's going to make it a little easier for Sammy to sort of do what he needs to do, right? Which I thought was cool. We get a code breaker to Claudio, and Sammy makes the save on that. Jericho's now getting a bit mad about this. So Jericho and Sammy eventually start fighting. We also get a neutralizer to Danielson on the floor for a guy with a neck problem. That's a bit scary, right? We got a nice shooting star by Sammy at one point. The finish comes when, do you remember Jericho hits like Claudio? I forget who he's got in the swing, but he's swinging somebody.
Oh, he was swinging, wasn't it Guevara, I feel like?
Probably. And then he gets hit with like a glancing Judas effect.
He tried
right?
to leap over, which I mean, the idea was there, and I do like it, but
And
like
I don't even think it was that terrible, like because it's going to be tough to hit that. So he hits like a half a one.
it was
and
kind
then,
of funny though.
and then immediately take twos it and lands the next one. So Jericho retains after 21 minutes of this. And only other notes I had was Sammy in a Dracula cape, right? Because
Oh yeah,
he had a different sort of outfit on. But by the end of this, I thought this was an excellent match.
yeah. I think the dynamic ended up working really well. I think the Guevara Jericho story was interesting. Blackpool facing off was pretty cool, and
Yeah.
the action was pretty consistent. Like I think the pace was good. They did a lot of cool stuff. So
And like Blackpool knowing they're gonna have to face off with each other and being okay with it, and then the stupid cowardly heels like not knowing they're gonna have to do that or not being prepared to do that, or Jericho expecting Sammy to lay down for him or whatever, right? Was kind of cool along the way. Sammy Guevara, in any of these matches is gonna do crazy stuff. There were some really good near falls in here. And honestly, made even better by the fact that I didn't know who was going to win. I guess Jericho in hindsight would have been the favorite. I didn't
Yeah.
pick him, but
didn't we pick Danielson? I feel like
I did, yes. So I like that I wasn't quite sure who was going to win. I honestly think that if you said who was the star of this match, I thought Sammy looked amazing.
absolutely,
in
yeah.
this.
He actually came out of this looking really
With
nice.
his crazy offense and just the evolving storyline with Jericho as it went on. So I get keeping the title on Jericho because this story of him trying to destroy the ROH brand or whatever as they head towards having their own show sort of makes sense, right? That sounds like that'll be their main event program is you have the guy with the ROH belt who hates ROH and we need somebody to step up for ROH and take
Right.
it from him sort of thing.
Yep.
So excellent match. Crowd energy was brought back by this one. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it did bring up the crowd energy back, and I don't know, I liked it, and Guevara does come out of this looking really well, which I think is nice because I don't know, he's kind of diminished
Yes.
a little while. I guess other than the Danielson matches, this and the Danielson matches kind of helped his stock a
Yeah.
bit. And I don't know, I guess it kind of makes something interesting in Jazz because I'm not sure like what comes out of this, right?
Yeah.
So
And again, like variety, right? So you have a bloody cage match, a crazy fast trios match, and now like a fun four-way match, right? And then a women's match stuck in there as well that wasn't great. But so just kind of a lot of variety on the show, which keeps things
Yes,
fresh,
yeah.
right? And you're just sort of seeing different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then we move into the big Haas fight, a three-way Haas fight, right? Hobbs taking on Samoa Joe, taking on Wardlow for the TNT Championship. Another finish I did not predict correctly, I don't think.
Me neither.
So Joe and Wardlow end up on the floor right away to start this. Joe gets run into the post, and now Hobbs immediately follows up and attacks Wardlow. So Hobbs hits a delayed vertical to Wardlow, a back elbow that flattens Samoa Joe, and then Hobbs clubs Wardlow as he's stretched out across the top rope. We get a T-bone by Hobbs to Joe as he's dominating both opponents, which I thought sort of telegraphed that he wasn't going to win this match because he was on fire early on in this one, right? And I was hoping that he would win because Hobbs is cool. Anyways, Wardlow then catches fire, starts doing stuff that a guy his size shouldn't do. He hits a whisper in the wind to both opponents, then top rope senton and a running senton.
Whisper in the wind, Jeffrey Hardy,
Right.
huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Had to invoke him.
I don't know what else to call it, really.
That's true.
Top rope senton by Wardlow, then a running senton by Joe. Now Joe kind of takes his turn in control of both men. We get a Wardlow shoulder. That does not make sense. A Wardlow shoulder tackle to Wardlow.
Well, he's a one-of-a-kind talent, I guess.
I think it's the Wardlow shoulder tackle that makes Joe DDT Hobbs. I think that's what I was going for there. But anyways, Wardlow then with a spine buster to Joe for a near fall. Joe hits a suicide dive to both opponents. Hobbs hits a massive shoulder tackle to Joe, running him into the barricade. Looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
We get a spine buster to Wardlow for a Hobbs near fall. And then counters lead to 2 Wardlow power bombs to Hobbs. He hits a third one, goes for a fourth, but Joe takes Wardlow out with a belt shot that is not seen by the ref. Or does it matter?
It's a triple threat.
Right, doesn't matter. They're invoking WWE rules, or is that just standard across the board wrestling?
What? Oh
Triple
yeah,
threats.
I would assume because like
I guess.
I feel like DQs and that is just is kind of stupid.
So a belt shot to Wardlow, chokes him out, and this was only a 10-minute match, and Samoa Joe is your new champion of ROH and double champion, right?
He's like, I saw him call himself the king of TV, which is fair.
Yeah, I thought this was good, but nothing special, right? Like
I don't think it was great, but I think it
enjoyable
was
10-minute
about what I
match.
would expect. It was pretty enjoyable. Like
And
for
again,
for who's involved.
something different, a triple threat Hoss fight, basically, right?
Yeah,
So-
I like that because it's kind of a little different from a Hoss fight, which we've seen Wardlow in a couple times, and now it's like kind of related to it, and it kind of played into the finish because Wardlow typically it's like he can have a competitive match, but then like once he gets the power bombs, he's kind of in his wheelhouse.
Yes.
But now you have this other element with Samoa Joe evidently coming in, and that's what gets him the win.
And Joe, who's willing to cheat now, so belt shot, away we go, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, good match. Not up to the level of the top 4 matches on this show for me, but
I liked it.
enjoyable.
Surprising result, which I'm not adverse to either, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool because they're definitely pulling some surprises here.
Yeah. Then we move into what is basically like the arena brawl type match, I guess, if we're going by match types and variety on this show. And that is Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Yes, that's right. Jeff Jarrett in 2022, everybody.
Yep.
Taking on Sting, also in 2022. And Darby Allin. So Jarrett's entrance, he summons a whole bunch of people in Sting masks. I don't really remember why or what was going on there.
I honestly forgot that happened until you told me.
And so Lethal, remember this? I think it was pretty early. Lethal gets thrown off the top and lands on the apron hard.
That was
Like,
kind of gnarly.
It looked bad. Then we're brawling on the outside. Sting crotches Lethal on the barricade. Allin gets a ladder, tries to coffin drop onto Jarrett on the floor, but Singh catches Allin and throws him onto the ramp. Why can't I remember? Oh, Satnam. Couldn't remember his first name.
I thought you were screwing up Sting.
No, Satnam Singh. Catches Darby Allin, throws him on the ramp. Sting dives onto Satnam Singh from above, and after Singh catches Lethal. Finally, everybody's in the ring. Jarrett dominates Darby Allin.
Under normal tag rules.
Right.
In case we're forgetting.
That's
it's
one of the
another no DQ tag match where they're abiding by the rules. Why?
And that's funny because my very next note is Taz points out the stupidity of Lethal and Jarrett tagging in and out. Right? He's kind of like,
stupid for anyone.
Oh, it's dumb.
Why is that? If it's
just
no
brawled
DQ,
on the floor for 5 minutes.
It should be a tornado tag. Anything like where there's no disqualifications, that's a tornado tag.
Right.
There's no reason to do this. It's the dumbest thing that they keep doing in certain matches.
And
like,
because
why?
they do it for a little bit and then they just abandon it anyways, right? So it goes back to being why do this?
Why is the referee even enforcing it? Because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Anyways, Lethal and Allin collide at one point. Both of them are down. We get a Sting, air quotes, hot tag because it's all clotheslines and corner splashes. He applies a sharpshooter to Jarrett. Dutt ends up hitting Sting, who no-sells that attack, obviously.
Because he's so formidable.
So Satnam Singh comes in and chokes Sting. We get a pump kick and lethal combination to Darby Allin for a near fall. So these two now pick up the pace here a little bit. It becomes less brawling, a little more wrestling. Not quite long enough for me, but it did pick up with these two. We get a flipping stunner by Allin and a coffin drop into a guitar shot. Obviously, you can't have a Jeff Jarrett match without an exploding guitar. We get a coffin splash to both heels. Death drop, coffin drop simultaneously to Satnam Singh. Darby Allin suicide dive. A lethal injection gets countered into a scorpion death drop. Darby Allin hits his coffin drop to probably lethal. Can't remember, to be honest.
Probably lethal.
And
yeah, we gotta protect Jarrett.
The baby faces win in 11 minutes. For me, I guess it wasn't bad, but it was too much brawling, too much interference, not enough wrestling. The segments with
And
Allen
then
and
they're
Lethal,
abiding by the rules in
right?
the no
That
DQ
too.
match. Like the brawling was kind of boring. I thought it always annoys me when they start tagging in one of these matches. Like I just didn't. It wasn't the worst Sting match, but also I didn't want Jarrett here, so I didn't really like this. It's probably one of my least favorite
And with
things.
two guys that age, I get it. You're gonna have to sort of reduce it
Then
to
don't
brawling
have it.
because there's not moves they can do so much anymore. And yeah, it was just that too. Like Allen and Lethal injected some fast-paced wrestling, but
Why
not
couldn't they just
much.
have their blow off match here? They're sitting at one match
And they're
apiece.
great together.
Yeah, why can't we just have like that? Makes infinitely more sense to me if you're gonna have them on the card. Like, and like I don't know why Jarrett and Sting are here. Like it
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense. And now Jarrett and Lethal are maybe going for the acclaimed. Like that's just stupid.
Yeah, so just with the adhering to tag rules, as you said, and it kind of made the heels look silly, constant interference.
Absolutely.
It kind of felt like filler
So
on
they're
this
gonna
show.
interfere, but they're gonna abide by tag rules.
Right. It kind of felt like filler a little bit. I really hope Jarrett's done in the ring. It does not
Nope.
seem to be that way, unfortunately. I just don't.
Wish.
I don't understand the draw there.
I don't.
I hope Darby Allin can get away from Sting. I don't know. We might be the only
He
people saying
was,
that,
and
but-
then they invoked him again.
right for Jarrett almost. It seemed like.
Oh, right.
So again, I don't think this was necessarily bad. It just wasn't for me.
It
I
just
haven't
wasn't
said
very
that in a
good.
while. Wasn't for me.
Yes.
So things pick back up here for me a little bit, and we get the interim, no longer, but for now, interim Women's World Championship match, and that's Jamie Hayter taking on Toni Storm. I have become a very big Jamie Hayter fan. I think you're a fan as well.
Yeah.
And we are much more open to Toni Storm as she's been a lot better. She's still not my favorite, but
I
compared
think
to NXT,
she's pretty good. Yeah, like even in
been
NXT, I thought she
night
was
and
just
day.
brutal.
Yeah.
I don't.
she's a lot
just not
better here.
good. Yeah.
So anyways, we get an extended lockup with each of them jockeying for position, some holds and counters early on. Shotgun drop kick and hip attack sends Hayter through the ropes to the floor. Storm continues the attack on the floor until Hayter ends up countering and throwing Storm into the barricade. So then Hayter gets run into the ring post a couple times. Storm then gets sort of swung like Cesaro style, I think it was, into the barricade, which always looks cool. We get two snap jackhammers, as I call them, from Jamie Hayter. She then is ragdolling Storm around a bit, drives her into the mat. We get a strike exchange, a Thez press by Toni Storm, the hip attack, a high crossbody for a 2 count, tornado DDT by Storm, and then another strike exchange leads to the big headbutt from Toni Storm for a near fall as they both collapse momentarily. Then we get Rebel running down the ramp, as you would expect. We get a running forearm elbow exchange, and now Toni Storm is bloody. I thought it looked kind of cool, actually, sometimes.
Did we talk about Baker and Saraya, or did that?
It's coming up later.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it already happened.
No, I think it's coming up, or did I skip it? Oh, now I'm questioning it.
I don't know.
I'll check after this. I
Okay.
can't remember. We get belt shot by Rebel, a backbreaker, and diving clothesline by Hayter for a near fall. Ripcord clotheslines reversed by Storm. I actually thought that looked really good. She goes for another hip attack. It's dodged, and Storm goes through the ropes to the floor. Britt Baker runs down, hits a stomp onto the title. Toni Storm stomps her onto the title. Back in the ring, Hayter hits a Storm Zero for a near fall. We get a German suplex and a Storm Zero from Storm this time, but Hayter manages to kick out they almost had me with that one, to be honest. And then we get another Britt Baker distraction.
A lot of near falls.
And another hate breaker for a near fall. Britt gets involved again, removes the turnbuckle. Storm runs into it, ripcord lariat, and Jamie Hayter wins, which I wasn't really expecting, but was hoping for in a 15-minute match. I thought this ended up being a really good physical match. Bit of a slow start. Obviously, lots of interference here, but that is kind of what Baker's group does. It didn't bother me as much as maybe that's just my bias because Sting and Jarrett weren't in this one. The interference here didn't bother me as much.
Agreed.
I really bought into several near falls for Hayter.
Yeah, especially at the end, there were a lot of really close ones.
And so once we got a couple for Hayter, then I was convinced that she was going to lose directly after that, right? It'll be like, oh, then Storm's going to hit her thing and win.
It's the classic.
But then she didn't.
It's the classic almost win it, then lose. But
yeah. Then the action really picked up as this match went on, and by the end, I thought it was really good.
I really liked it.
Really happy that Hayter delivered a super strong match and won some gold finally, because I thought they were almost waiting too long. The crowd was really into Hayter like a month ago. They still were here, not quite as hot as before, but I was worried that they were waiting a bit too long. But I'm super happy for her. I think she's
I think
awesome.
it was kind of like the Acclaim. They capitalized decently.
Yes, so I thought this was a really good match, easily the best women's match on this show, I thought, right?
Yep, it's got a lot of competition.
Yeah. And
No,
yeah,
absolutely though. I think they work really well together in general. I think probably the real life friendship helps, and then like the near falls at the end were like that was really good because then it's one of those times where like I'm not 100% sure for either.
right.
So I'm pretty happy they did that, and I think you caught this one. So
I did definitely miss Britt Baker Saraya. It was after the Ring of Honor
I was
4-way.
gonna say.
So let me jump back to that then. So this one I really shortened a lot. The big story of this, right, is Saraya's back after what, 5 years of not in the ring and monster neck problems. So it's a lot of Saraya selling her neck and Britt Baker attacking it, like lots of different neck breakers and stomps to the head, right? She had swinging neck breakers and just standard neck breakers, all kinds of them. We got a page turner, an air raid crash by Britt Baker. She goes for an avalanche air raid crash that Saraya counters into what I thought was a somewhat sloppy sunset bomb. We get a rampage, inverted clover leaf, another rampage, and again, I'm cutting out a lot of details here. Saraya ends up picking up the win as expected. I don't know if anyone would have picked Britt Baker to win this after 13 minutes. So,
Yeah,
my
it
thought.
was okay. I don't know, like I just kind of
So
I
you went
wasn't
with
super
okay. I
interested.
went with pretty good, which I think is pretty. And it's in for me. This was in between the Storm Hater match and the Cargill Nyla Rose.
I just don't. It wasn't that interesting to me. I honestly don't remember that much that Saraya did.
So that's
Considering this
kind
is
of
her
what I'm
big
saying.
comeback match, like I barely remember anything she did.
What I did like was Baker's varied attack on her neck. Right, I'm a bit
That
of a
yeah,
sucker for that. We'll
I
talk
kind of
about
remember that now that you
later.
mention it. But like, I feel like given it's her big comeback, Saraya really didn't stand out here to me.
I think Britt carried this match, and Saraya. My thoughts in my notes were she did enough to make it look like a fight. Right,
Yeah.
like she wasn't awful. It kind of over delivered for me. Like I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think it was great. I don't like Britt Baker losing because I just think she should be at the top of that division pretty much all the time. But I guess the fact that it took double finishers, right, is made to keep her looking strong. Again, like I say, I don't mean to be repetitive. I don't think Saraya is as popular or iconic as they want her to be. But I guess the best I could say is she held her own here. Is what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
she didn't embarrass herself or anything. It just wasn't that great.
The build I didn't love because it made it feel a bit like WWE versus AEW, right? Like her kind of going, you haven't accomplished anything because you've done it just here. And I
Like
was like,
kind of the sport, almost like the sports entertainer thing, because like she's like I'm a superstar and
yes.
whatever.
And then it became Britt cut like an awesome babyface promo, but she's supposed to be a heel. So
And then
the dynamic was kind of screwed up in this. I wasn't a fan of the build, and the match was just okay, I thought. All right, so now I got to jump back to where I actually am, which is Swerve and Keith Lee versus the Acclaimed in their third match, right, for the
Yes, sir.
AEW Tag Team Championships. So we got a caster sort of extended wrap here on this show.
Right.
He mentions Kanye, Elon Musk's issues with Twitter, calling Lee and Swerve the Black Jay and Silent Bob, which is a reference to movies you haven't seen, but I have and love. Something about fact-checking like a Trump speech. Something about looking like Monsters, Inc., reference to Tristan Thompson and the movie Blindside. So lots of stuff thrown in there. And we're told that Bowens has had his arm in a sling since Dynamite. He was selling some shoulder issues there.
Right, because there's like he
legit
kind of
shoulder issues.
re-aggravated something in the Swerve match.
Right. So I don't know. I don't really have much on this. Let's see. Caster gets on the apron as Bowens tries some left-handed shots. Swerve comes in, works Bowens' arm. Before Keith Lee's back in, we get a reverse Rana that gets Bowens out of trouble. Caster comes in, the pace kind of picks up a little bit. Caster grabs a middle rope Hurricane Rana to Lee and a top rope Famouser to take Lee out as well. Everything then kind of breaks down. Caster goes for a high crossbody off the apron to send Lee off the top of the announcer's table, which was sort of spanning the apron there.
Mm-hmm.
Back in, Swerve hits his rolling sort of is it a flatliner, downward spiral kind of thing, right?
I think.
And
I can't remember.
And a kick to Bowen's head for 2.
Like house call?
Yeah, Swerve kicks him 2 more times with that, right?
House call.
Yes. Taunts him a little bit and hits a 4th one
House
for
call.
for another near fall. You love the house call, eh?
Yeah, it looks so good for how simple it is. I don't know why, but the way he does it is just so perfect.
He's awesome. Then we get
It just looks cool.
the arrival and the mic drop to, I think it was Swerve for a near fall. Lee ends up making the save. We get a Swerve brainbuster to Caster. Keith Lee runs Bowens over as commentary talk about because there was a major distraction in the middle of this, right? So a fan was getting thrown out, I think it was.
I
So the
wonder what that
crowd
did.
was not paying attention
Yeah.
at all for like a good
Yeah, they're actually
stretch
kind of
here.
explaining it, I think, right?
Yeah, they actually commentary had to address it because it was so obvious everybody was watching something other than the match.
Right.
So things go outside. Caster sent over a table that allows Swerve to get out some pliers, right? Billy Gunn comes out after Swerve with the pliers, but he gets cut off before getting to him. Swerve tells Lee to use the pliers, but Lee won't do it, so Swerve ends up slapping him, and that is enough for Keith Lee to just walk out of here, right? Bowens then rolls up Swerve for a close 2 count. Caster gets a missile drop kick. They load Swerve up for what looks like a magic killer. It looks like, what?
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
But they do like flip him forward into like a double slam kind
Oh yeah,
of
that was kind of cool.
thing, and they end up retaining as Lee has abandoned Swerve in about 20 minutes. I thought this was an entertaining match. I really liked it, but for me, the first of the 3 was amazing, and they've been sort of not able to get back to that spot.
I thought the Grand Slam was pretty good.
But this still makes sense, right? It's the culmination of the Swerve and Lee sort of story happening here. So really entertaining match. Again, not at the level of some other matches on this show, but a really good tag team match. Swerve, you can't go wrong. He's fantastic. I love him as a heel. So what did you think of this one?
I liked it. I think it was pretty good. Yeah, I think like you said they did better before, but I thought Swerve was great here, and I think they did the split pretty well. And I mean it does kind of get more interesting on Dynamite, so I guess we'll see where that goes. But I thought Swerve was really great here, kind of working the arm, right?
Yes.
And just repeatedly kicking him in the head over and over and over again.
Right.
Something about the house call just looks
Swerve is so cool.
So very nice. Yeah, he's just cool. I don't know. And I thought the finishing move that they landed was kind of cool. Like, I don't know. I think typically I'd rather them do like the arrival mic drop thing, but I thought it was kind of cool, like changing it up a bit. I think it was unique. Makes sense for them to win. I don't think they're losing it yet unless it's FTR.
Agree.
I think that's the most logical.
And that's babyface, so they can do the respect.
So, yeah, they could, right? So, yeah, I think that's pretty good, and I'm interested to see where like another interesting storyline coming out with Lee and Swerve.
Yeah, for sure. Main event time, so that's MJF taking on Moxley, and I'll try and shorten my notes a bit here. Mox attacks right away, MJF fights back, and then stops to strike.
Moxley was wearing red pants. It was weird.
Yes. Moxley sent outside, MJF teases a dive, just runs the ropes, and then poses instead. Back in the ring, Moxley sends MJF into the corner, double middle finger to the crowd, because the crowd is definitely behind MJF here.
It's so weird.
And
if
not
you had told me
Moxley.
that was gonna happen, I would never have believed that in a million years. It was weird.
So Moxley has to kind of lean in.
I know like
to being a
MJF's
heel
been
here.
doing whatever, but like it was so weird against Moxley. Like it's nuts.
It was strange. Falcon Arrow into an armbar to MJF. He stacks up Moxley, sort of countering it a little bit for a 2. They fight outside. MJF gets thrown into the steps. Back in, MJF fires off some strikes and a big left to take Moxley down. Back outside, they set up a table, but back inside the ring, the table doesn't get used yet. They fight to the apron. MJF hits a tombstone and starts selling an injured knee at that point. Was that on the apron, right?
Yeah, because I remember he did like an avalanche tombstone once. I want to say it was maybe against Darby or something, and he did that.
Yeah.
Good thing that's kind of something like he'll hit an avalanche tombstone. He actually kind of sells the knee because it would be kind of coming down hard on your knees, right?
It would be.
It actually does make sense.
It's
one of the things I like that he does, because like when he does something like that where it would kind of impact you too, it kind of affects him, which I think is cool because that's how it would probably go.
So then another pile driver is teased on the apron, but Moxley reverses it, and that's where this is our table spot where MJF gets pile drive through the table at ringside.
Gnarly. It just like happened.
Looked good. Back in the ring, Moxley grabs a figure 4, starting to work the bad knee now.
Moxley doing a figure 4. Now we've seen it all.
MJF fights out, turning it over. As you know, that reverses the pressure.
Oh, it does. I actually didn't know that, but I'm glad I learned it.
Hammer and anvil elbows
which
raining
is
down.
Also surprising.
as the fans are not happy about this.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
We get a super paradigm shift. That gets a 2 count as MJF just gets a finger on the ropes at the last second. Moxley's now kind of selling his elbow, but he tells MJF to take his best shot at him. So they start obviously a bit of a striking exchange here.
Not as bad as Ishii.
And then MJF pulls the referee into a charge, sort of foreshadowing some heel work here by the babyface MJF, I guess, at this point with this crowd.
So weird.
MJF gets the diamond ring out, and here's Regal comes down to tell him to put it down, that he doesn't need it. And this is where I say, oh, Regal's going to be given, right? I was like, Regal's going to be given the brass knuckles. I kind of saw this coming, not quite as far in advance as some other people did, I told you, that are even smarter than me, but this is where I sort of thought this was going. And for some reason, MJF actually does put the ring down, right? Again, sort of teetering on the brink of being a babyface here. That allows Moxley to get a chokehold. It's broken up, and another referee comes and gets knocked down. I didn't love all the referee bumps in this, but anyways. Moxley grabs the Bulldog choke, and MJF is tapping, but there's no referee available. And this is where Regal indeed takes out the brass knuckles, slides them to MJF, and he hits the knockout shot. MJF gets the pinfall, becomes your new AEW champion after about 23 minutes.
Well, so now that if he's not doing Blackpool anymore, now it's got to be the Cincinnati, Switzerland, wherever Danielson's from, wherever Yuta's from, Combat Club.
Right. So I wonder where this is. My fantasy booking, because I have that a little bit in here, is that Yuta joins them because Moxley referred to Yuta as his young boy, and I think Yuta could be like, screw you. I thought I was trying to get.
But he doesn't like MJF.
I know, but we could find a way. So I would love it if it ends up with all the young ones, Yuta, Moriarty, and Garcia, and MJF and Regal. I know that would be a lot of moving parts to get people out of other things, but I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I don't know if they all fit with MJF.
Regal could kind of be like, I've done all I can with Mox and Danielson. I can't help you get any better. You're as good as you're gonna get. I want to go and help a new generation to be the heels, and get them to the level you're at, because I can't do anything else with you guys.
Just bring back the firm to MJF.
I thought it was a really good match. Probably my fourth favorite on this show. It was a pretty stacked.
Yeah, I mean, as far as main events go, I think it was really solid. These guys work really well together. The dynamic was a little off, so it kind of I don't know. I liked it a little less for that, just because it was really weird and it just felt unnatural.
It was.
And if it was typical Mox, babyface, MJF heel, I think it would have been even better. But I think in spite of the weird reaction, I think they did really well. I think Mox can work heel well. It's just I don't think that's what I wanted to see here.
Right.
But he still did really well.
And in the end, we got heel MJF, which we both
did
wanted.
Get that right. Absolutely heel MJF. I saw his fiance posted something, I guess, holding kayfabe that he's been wearing the title the whole time, and he wants her to refer to him as a champion of the world. And
nice.
I saw his thing from the media scrum, and guess what? He didn't go on an anti-company tirade after winning the title.
Right. Amazing.
Who thought?
Imagine.
Who would have thought? It was pretty funny though. I saw a bit of it. It was pretty good, and obviously keeping kayfabe because that's how he do. But
I thought at this
great.
point,
finish was cool, and then another surprise. I think, and again, storyline coming out of this, very well done.
Right, and that's what we sort of talked about, and we'll talk about it on Dynamite. Is it feels like the stories coming out of Full Gear are more interesting to me than the ones going into it. So that's a good thing. Not only did I love this pay-per-view, but I think now there's things going in directions that I prefer, because some of the builds to this I thought were wonky in terms of heel face dynamics with Mox and MJF and Britt Baker and Saraya, and just even Luchasaurus Jungle Boy had cooled off for me. So I feel like we're going in some new directions after this show that I really like. So overall, I thought this was an amazing pay-per-view that outperformed a lot of the builds heading in. I don't think there was anything bad. Jade Nyla was the low point for me, but I don't think it was a bad match. It was watchable, I think, at least, right? Good. And I thought that 5 matches on this were really good to excellent, right? So obviously the Trios was my match of the night. Love the opener cage match. Love the Ring of Honor 4-way, and almost love the Hater Storm match and the main event as well. So any show that has 5 matches of that quality has to be in the A range. So I gave this show an easy A for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, so I thought the opener was really great. I loved the trios match to death. It was at death. It was awesome. It was just everything I could have wanted it to be. What else? The Ring of Honor 4 was great as well. And then I think like I liked the women's title match and also the TNT match. I think
Yep.
it was pretty good for what it was. And then I think the main event was really strong too. Like I liked it. Wasn't my favorite, but it was really strong. TBS, meh. Sting, meh. And then I thought, what else was it? The tag title match was pretty solid, and then Saraya was solid.
Yeah, a little bit of filler, but then some
Right.
amazing stuff.
But then when it hit, it really hit. Like there was some really great stuff there. So I think I agree that's an A show. It was really nice too, and a lot of talking points coming out of it. Like a lot of storylines coming out of it. A lot of stuff that we're gonna get. Like a lot of stuff happening. So I think that's
I agree. It looks good going forward.
Great.
Yeah, awesome show. So that quick review did not go so quickly, but
you win by 1.
Oh, nice.
Including the pre-show, because that was Starks winning.
Right. Which I did watch that match. It was pretty good. All right. Well, that's going to bring us into sort of what we normally do, which is talk about this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. All right, dude. So we're moving from one AEW show directly.
Are you not doing trivia in between?
Into another. No, don't I usually do trivia after Dynamite?
I thought you did in between stuff.
I will, but it's going to go in between Dynamite and Highspots and Restholds.
Okay.
Because I only talked about NXT in there. So that segment should be a bit quicker. But so yeah, Dynamite was where this week?
Chicago.
Right. So some interesting dynamic there, as obviously.
I don't think they've touched Chicago since.
Right.
Well, because I guess that was in Chicago.
It was. So it's going to be a pro-punk crowd in theory, and the Elite will definitely be on it, so we'll see how that goes. All right, so let's hit it.
So we open the show with William Regal speaking. He asks if the fans want to hear from MJF, and he says they will. Yay. But it'll be next week.
Right. So immediately establishing himself as the obnoxious heel. Like in the first minute, he like insulted the crowd like 2 or 3 times, which I thought was just to solidify, like, yes, I am a despicable heel now.
And he says MJF doesn't have time to come to places like Chicago, and the fans are very anti-Regal now, like a lot.
And they're like chanting "F you, Regal" really loud.
They are incredibly against
to
him.
the point where he has to stop, and he said it was so uncouth, which I thought was cool, right? Like
they may have been booing him at the pay-per-view, but Moxley is the people's champion, so to speak.
Yes.
Like he's clearly like, I mean, they may be Punk's town, but they were very protective of Moxley, so to speak.
Super like behind Moxley here for sure.
I mean, I would be too, but like still. He says a number of weeks ago he emailed MJF, and then they won't know until MJF explains next week. Not very nice. And he says MJF will be here next week, but he gets cut off by Mox's music.
Yeah, and the crowd is bananas for Moxley.
Yep. He is angry.
He is angry.
Danielson runs out in a toque to plead with Mox not to attack Regal, and he tries to play peacemaker, and he kind of grabs the mic quick and says he doesn't know what Regal did, and it was a bad thing, but Mox has done bad things, and so has he. And he's asking Mox not to, because Regal has a bad neck, and something else would be it for him, basically. Yep. And asks him not to hurt Regal. He keeps saying please and slaps. Mox says sorry, but to listen. And he doesn't care if they boo, because they were booing.
They sure were.
He knows the struggles Mox went through, and his dad had the same struggles, but he didn't understand, and Regal taught him to love him despite his struggles. And because of Regal, he understood. He says to imagine someone teaching Mox's daughter to love him despite his struggles,
right,
and to save him for Danielson if for no other reason. Mox kind of takes a second to contemplate, kind of angry, and then goes face to face with Regal, then says he only wants one thing from Regal, wants him to run as far away as he can, and to never come back. And he says he wants him to walk and keep on walking right now, and then Regal does that.
He does that. I really like this, and considering we almost got nothing out of it, right? Like, we got no explanation for what Regal did. We got no explanation from MJF, but I still thought this was really interesting. Just the crowd hating Regal so much and loving Moxley so much, almost too much, because as Brian Danielson was giving his like heartfelt, the crowd was kind of like still just focused on Moxley, right? So I felt like that was unfortunate, because Danielson's thing was really cool, like probably from a place of truth, right? Like, listen, this guy's basically my father figure and taught me to sort of love my father who was not a good person for a lot of his life, apparently, right? So I thought it was a really clever way to have Mox and Regal in the same ring and have it believable that Moxley doesn't absolutely kill him, right? So this was like Mox going, this is kind of your one get out of jail free card, right? But next time it's kind of like on site sort of deal, it sounds like, right? So I thought this was like a dramatic and well executed opening segment. They just again put off. So they can. I feel like this episode of Dynamite, we're slow burning a lot of new
Just kind of
storylines,
slowly chugging them along a bit.
So they acknowledge this is happening, but we get no more details. I thought Mox still looked badass. Danielson adds a little bit of backstory to his character, and Regal's like really digging
And Blackpool's really up in the air now.
It is, and Regal's kind of digging in as a heel. So I thought this accomplished a lot while accomplishing little on the major storyline fronts, right? So I thought this was a cool segment, and
Yeah.
not my favorite thing to start a show with the segment, but I thought this was.
I think it also makes sense though, because this is kind of the
it
big
had
thing.
to be addressed.
You kind
off of a pay-per-view. I agree. So I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I thought it was pretty good. It's really interesting, right? Because there's a lot coming out of this, and like you said, it does a lot, but didn't do much as well. Like because Regal's promo didn't offer a ton in the way of information, but it does give us a little bit. We'll see MJF next week. So that's again building intrigue for next show, gonna get people to tune in.
Exactly.
He's also very different as a heel.
Just his face,
very
even.
clearly, yeah, even down to his facial expressions. Given he didn't say a lot, I thought Regal did really well here. Like
he's awesome.
He was really great here for the little he did. Still a lot of mystery surrounding that, so hopefully MJF delivers next week, and again, that's something really interesting. I thought Danielson played an interesting role here, but I thought it was really well done, and it felt like it had that air of truth to it, which I think always helps, and trying to relate it to Mox, I think was really smart, and I think was well done. I was kind of expecting Mox just to eventually drop him with a paradigm shift for no reason, like Austin style or whatever, just because he's pissed, but he didn't, and Mox's bit was good too. I think like it's kind of like letting him off the hook once, and
he sells being furious so well, like like you feel it coming out of him, right?
And I'm not sure what that'll mean for Blackpool, mostly like Mox, if he's gonna like go rogue and just start taking out Blackpool, and also like is Regal gonna still back them? Is he gonna back MJF?
Because clearly he and Danielson still wants to support Regal.
But like, what about Claudio? What about Yuta? We don't know what's gonna happen. So I think that's also interesting too. So this whole thing is very interesting because there's a lot of moving parts in there, right? So I don't know. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah, and honestly, man, if Regal could have just been in his prime, in an era that wasn't obsessed with physique and bodybuilders, like he's so good in the ring and he's so good character-wise, like he really never got the run, in my opinion, that he should have gotten for being as good as he is, just because of his look, and the fact that he's probably not American doesn't help him with Vince either, right? So like just a top tier performer that was held back because of it was an era of steroids and massively jacked dudes, right?
And he was awesome as a general manager.
Yes,
so like
incredible.
So I mean, you gotta be pretty good if you're gonna make me like a GM.
Right.
Next we had a Keith Lee interview, but then Swerve walks in and Lee says to choose his words wisely because they haven't talked since.
Yes.
That's kind of the implication. Swerve kind of palms the camera and says, "Let's talk." So they're gonna do this off the camera. It was really quick, but I really liked it because it makes more sense for them to want to do this, and that's kind of the only way like Lee's gonna talk is just like if they kind of keep it private for now, but it does kind of beg the question why most people don't do this, because a lot of the time it gets aired out on stage. Whatever, that doesn't matter. Regardless, it's more intrigue for future weeks, and I'm glad it's not a straight split with them because that's so much more interesting. Because now there's multiple ways this could go, right? We don't know what they're talking about, so we're gonna have to see that eventually. We don't know if they're gonna make up. We don't know if they're gonna feud. It's a lot more interesting, and I just really like Swerve, and where's his AEW figure? I need it.
So again, like
another storyline continuing.
Right, another storyline that we're not getting any more details, but it still was sort of furthered a little bit.
It's kind of like what they did with the Elite thing before the pay-per-view. Like, obviously, that was different because they weren't, but like it's like that kind of slow burn where you get a bit, but you don't get a lot. I guess you got less with those because these people are talking.
And I just think Swerve as a heel is everything about him, right? He just oozes attitude, and I just
like Hit Row Swerve at the beginning was so good.
And I just hope that they're gonna unleash him as a heel and elevate him. And I told you my dream would be way down the road we have him as a TNT champion with babyface Jungle Boy
Give him either the
Just
mid-card
because
titles.
it's such a perfect heel and babyface dynamic, right?
Give him any mid-card title. Like, he can even take the Atlantic title. I don't really care.
So I thought this was another like really short, simple way to like delay the payoff to this story, and it has me interested. So I thought this was good.
Kind of building that payoff more, which I really like.
Yep.
Next we get our first match of the show.
I guess, yeah.
Orange Cassidy and Jake Hager for the Atlantic title. Speak of the devil.
Because Hager deserves a shot because
he likes his hat.
Wrestling. Yeah. Yeah, he looks like an idiot in this, but anyways, go ahead and...
That's his new thing.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was amusing in segments, but...
I was hoping for more of like... Because, you know, sometimes like, man, Hager actually looked good in this
like
and
that
like dominant
match.
force, but
the Danielson match.
Exactly. Did not get that here.
There was kind of a payoff at the end.
There was. It was more about
which
the angle than the match.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Which is great for a title match.
I liked it, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh no, not what you want.
For the title match.
That a title match is there to set up an angle. But that's what
people
was happening.
not involved in the match. Also, mind you, like it's not like this is building like some bigger feud for Cassie.
No,
it's the factory.
He was used as a prop here, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Some notables: Hager hits Cassie off the apron, but he falls and gets caught by the best friends and also Rocky Romero. He's not a best friend; he's just a friend. Hager takes them out, but then he gets hit by a suicide dive from Cassie. Then he takes out Jazz with the dive. Garcia's there, who he's kind of dropped off.
And that's his purple hat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it like Hater does.
Ironically, he gets a belt and he gets less attention.
Well, he even had a belt when the whole Danielson thing was going on, but that was at least interesting. It's like you rejoined Jazz and then just kind of fell back into his place.
Right.
Like,
get him with Regal.
That storyline was great, but like he should have joined Blackpool. He would have been so much more interesting. Like, because now he's just there.
Yeah.
I don't really care anymore. He's still good. Like, it's not like I don't like him again, but like, what's he done?
I know. He's
like
not
over a month.
This is what happens, right? They build people and then they don't seem to know what to do once they build them.
Yeah, because Starks has kind of come back up now, and like Hobbs kind of came back up. Right, like they were doing really well, then they kind of fizzled out. Now they've come back up. Although I think Wardlow, it's like I don't see it.
Like they're great at building these young guys, and then I'm like they're kind of not sure what to do.
I think that at least the difference though is like with Starks and Hobbs, I at least see the money there. I don't know, Wardlow, it's just kind of it's fizzled out for me regardless of because he's at least been consistently on.
Yes.
Right. So like I feel like that's not even their fault at that point. But regardless, that's a little off topic.
Sorry.
Stundog Millionaire by Cassidy, which I love that name. Followed by the Tilt World GT for 2.
Always looks good.
Mhm. Well, it's okay. It's not Pac, so
no. If he does it to Pac, that's the key. You need Pac taking these DDTs.
You need Pac he can come in randomly and just take it for no reason. No wonder he breaks his nose. Hager counters the orange punch, hits a Uranagi for 2, which is all right. Cassidy tries to get his feet up on a swagger bomb attempt from Hager, but Hager sees it coming and turns it into an ankle lock. I did
like that because Cassidy put his feet up so early, right, that Hager actually noticed and didn't look stupid just jumping into it. He countered kind of in the air, which was cool.
But then he does look stupid because he lets go of the ankle lock to get his hat. Then Cassidy hits an orange punch and rolls him up for the win. Post-match, the Factory come out.
Obviously.
The faction that consists of our star-studded squad of QT Marshall, Nick Camarato, Aaron Solo, Lee Johnson, Big Shotty, and Cole Carter 2 times.
Right. Good for you for calling the right name, because I get Factory and Firm. To me, those names are just interchangeable. I have like a mental block for it.
The Firm at least are more interesting to me, because you say what you want, but I care about W. Morrissey infinitely more than I care about anyone from the Factory. To me, it's just
low-card factions that start with
Hey, don't say that about Ethan Page.
Sorry, I know.
That is offensive. The Factory come out and says QT says they have unfinished business because they lost to Best Friends and Danhausen on the 0 hour.
Right.
Oh. And it seems like Cassie has no problem giving title shots. I agree.
That is, well, he gave one to Hager, so that's pretty strong
evidence. He gave one to Lee Johnson.
That too, yeah.
That's pretty strong evidence.
Yeah.
Lights go out. Ooh. Julia Hart appears on the stage in red light and smoke and raises her hand to the camera. And the House of Black appear in the ring with the lights on. And they just smack the tar out of Best Friends, just beat him up in the ring, and then Factory are like clapping like, "Yay!"
Yeah, like, hey,
beat up.
fellow heels, thanks for,
And then House of Black start killing them
Nope.
too.
Yep.
And it's just 3 guys like taking what? So it's like Factory's like 5 guys, and it's like 4 best friends. It's like 9 guys they
Yeah.
just took out.
Destroyed them.
Jobbers and security rhinos are even more, and Murphy and Black take them out too. Murphy and King hit a Dante's Inferno on the stage to a security guy, which looked gnarly as
It
hell.
looked
That
awesome.
was awesome. And then Black says, members of the House of Black, please rise. That's over. And that was sick.
Yeah, so the match I didn't care for, right? I'm not a Jake Hager fan by any means, but I thought he looked really silly here, right? I was hoping that it would be a little more competitive, and obviously he's not winning, but sometimes he could look, because he's even just the size difference. Cassidy could have been, the underdog babyface. It could have worked, but this was just a comedy match basically, and the whole hat thing and everything else is just kind of silly, but I guess it's a strong contrast to the segment that would follow, right? Because you go from comedy match to like dark group coming out and just killing people, which I thought was
so good.
Really cool return for them. They looked super dominant, got a really good reaction.
It was
from
actually
the crowd.
funny because the Friday morning, I guess the same day we watched this, like before school, I sometimes just catch what's on the network, and they're playing Survivor Series 2018, and just so happens, cruiserweight title match, Buddy Murphy and Ali. So that was kind of cool. I missed that Murphy.
I like that House of Black attacked heels and faces, right? Just establishing as we will just kill everybody.
Also, Murphy was buff back then, but he's so much bigger now. It's crazy. It's nuts. But I agree. I just like them. They killed everybody. Like, the match was fine. I didn't love that match. Cassie's had some good matches lately, I think.
Yes.
Like, he is actually pretty good. Like, if he's in there with the right guy, I think he's actually pretty nice. But I don't think Hager's the guy to have a good one with. Like, he's good sometimes, but again, I think he needs like a Danielson or like this. Just it was
and they
too
clearly
ridiculous.
Put him here to be funny, right? And that's not...
just the whole obsessed with the hat thing was amusing in segments, but I think they went overboard here.
I agree.
The finish was lame too as a result of that. But whatever, it was okay. It didn't suck, I guess. Factory coming out was the lamest possible follow up they could have done, but it's okay because it all turned out well. Because House of Black are back, which is fantastic. All they did was just kill a bunch of people, which is extremely straightforward. But man, was that. It was so sick. It made them look sick. They looked dominant. The Dante's Inferno on stage was killer.
Awesome.
They come out of this looking pretty cool. Like, this is a great way to kind of re-debut them, because it's been a while. It's kind of like it's a refresh, right?
Yes.
And like, I think the whole Sting feud really did them in, because just keeping me to look ridiculous from like Sting and it was just ridiculous. But
they needed to get away from that and take some time so we can.
They need to be dominant. Like, they can be a dark kind of like, I don't know if spooky is the right word, but like, how Malachi Black is. Like, they can be that kind of faction. I think that's really cool, because I don't think they border on supernatural, right?
I don't even think they need championships.
I don't think so. I mean, I would personally like to have them with the trio titles one day. Not, at least not right now. No. Like. And I don't know if they can be that kind of dark faction, because I really like it, because they don't border on that supernatural that would be kind of stupid, right? So, like with them and the Elite back kind of like in succession, the trios division can once again flourish. So I'm very happy they're back. It came out of the blue because I didn't hear anything about this.
No.
But I ain't complaining, because Murphy is my boy.
My only nitpick is clearly they're putting Julia Hart in a little different role, kind of out front, and I'll see how I feel about that, because sometimes I just find like she's just this adorable, like,
I still don't get why
young woman, and it kind of doesn't. I don't know if it fits, but we'll see. But yeah, it was really cool overall.
I don't know why it's her. It could have been someone else.
Agree. But anyways, we'll see what happens.
Next we got a recap of the Jungle Boy Luchasaurus cage match, and then we get a bit from Jungle Boy kind of post match, because he still got like the dried blood on his face.
Which I thought looked awesome.
I always loved that.
Yeah.
Remember when 2.0 did that after the arena anchoring? Matt Menard especially, or like both of them, they were just like,
and it's
no,
just
it was
like,
blood and guts. It was after blood and guts.
It's just like clearly you got them the minute the match was over, which I think is cool. They haven't had time to clean up or anything, right?
I think it's a really nice look. He basically just says Luchasaurus hurt him more than anyone, but it felt cathartic to kind of deal with that. And he's glad he won and kicked his ass, and they kind of put on a nice one there.
Yeah, I almost, like, he sounded good, and he doesn't always, but it almost sounded like he was being friendly towards Luchasaurus at the end.
Almost. I guess it's still like his friend since childhood. I guess
you just tried to kill him in a
I guess so. It's kind of like
match.
But now that he's kind of got that, I guess, like, maybe there's a bit of that there, because it is like one of those, like,
it was closure, and now he's
kind of, I guess, like, obviously maybe it's not like, oh, hey, we're friends again, but like, I don't know, maybe there's always like a bit of that underlying kind of respect,
I just thought the tone
or whatever.
Was like, you sound
it was
almost
right
friendly.
Like kind of at the end there. At first it was like, At first it was like normal. I agree. I do remember like kind of there was a bit of that, which was a little odd, but I thought it was pretty good. Like it was pretty short, but again, like he didn't sound bad. Like,
No,
sometimes he speaks and stuff
sometimes he
great, but
doesn't sound good.
honestly, I don't think that's happened in a while though.
No.
To be fair, like
He's
I think
improving for sure.
absolutely. Remember when he won the Casino Battle Royal, and that was like a while ago.
I wonder how long it'll take before I start calling him Jack Perry, because to me he's just still Jungle Boy. They're trying hard, but
I don't.
it's not taking.
I'm okay with it being like Jungle Boy Jack Perry, because then
Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
yeah, he was way ahead of the curve on
Yes.
that one. If we want to talk about like
Yes.
predictions,
He
JR is like got the greatest one of all time. But
Right.
like, I don't mind it as like a nickname there because you can still call him Jungle Boy. Because I don't know if I'll let that go.
Yeah.
I probably would
It's
eventually.
hard for me so far.
Especially if it's just Jack Perry, then I don't know. It's just weird because I think Jungle Boy kind of gives him a bit of a gimmick, you know.
Yep.
Regardless of like if it's just his name or not. Anyways, next we get the Eliminator Tournament final between Ethan Page and Ricardo Starks.
We do.
Taped up like nobody's business.
Taped up all around like ribs and one shoulder, right? Basically, yeah.
Classic.
Midsection / shoulder stuff.
Stokely Hathaway cuts a bit of a promo during Page's entrance, saying you're looking at the future world champion Ethan Page. And Page takes the mic, saying they think Starks will win, but when Starks is left in the ring crying after he loses, all the Chicago people can cry with him like the losers they are.
Wow. Yeah, he's
I concur.
He's awesome at just riling the crowd up quickly. Great job.
I love Ethan Page.
And that's why I was like, please, Stokely, hand the mic over. Like, you don't need to talk for this dude. Just let him talk. And he did, so I was happy.
Yeah, and Chicago are losers. They produce losers. One in particular, who
would
shall
that be?
remain nameless.
Fair enough.
CM Punk.
Would you almost say he was Chicago made?
I think I would actually.
Yeah, at least.
I think I would.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
It does.
You should put that in his name so that we know. And maybe he's a chick magnet too.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Doubt
it. That's true. Some of the notables, Page is targeting the midsection of Starks with shoulder blocks in the corner, then just stomps him a bunch. Page counters a turning DT by hanging him on the top rope.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds wrong. Like over it on his midsection,
Right.
Not in a cruel way that you may or may not.
Like Boss
thought.
Man.
Like Boss Man. Oh my God. Yeah, like poor big Boss Man.
If you don't know, look it up. It was shocking.
God. WrestleMania 15, folks.
There you go.
Hell in a Cell.
Murder. Muck duck.
Muck duck. Hathaway pulls Page out of the way of a suicide dive attempt from Starks, and he just crashes and burns, which looked pretty nice. And then Hathaway gets ejected
Yes.
from the match. There's a superplex by Starks, which was actually it was kind of pretty quick. Like there wasn't like a lot of delay on there.
No.
And then later on, a tornado DDT by Starks for 2. He goes for Rochambeau, but can't get Page up. Page nails him with a forearm to knock him back in the corner. So he's kind of seated and pulls him up into a power slam, kind of devil inside style.
Looked really
for
cool.
2. Yeah.
Just that forearm straight into the yanking him up and hitting him with that looked good.
Reminiscent of the devil inside.
It is.
Not the whatever. The devil inside.
Devil inside.
Devil inside.
Devlin side.
Devil inside.
Yeah.
It's always that. Never.
Subtle
It's
difference.
never anything else. Ever. Page goes for Ego's edge. Starks counters in a roll up for 2. The finish comes when Page lands a roundhouse kick and then hits the ropes. Starks nabs him with a spear, then kind of lines him up, hits a second one, and Starks wins his attorney in rapid succession because it was like literally last Friday he had his first match.
Right.
So like a week ago, after when we watched this, I guess he would have had his first match in the tournament.
So to acknowledge my bias, I am a sucker for pre-existing injuries being targeted, especially if the person is good at it. I think it's just a simple, realistic tactic for a heel to take. So I like this match. The pace was slow, but I thought Stark sold really well, and that Page, had a lot of different ways to attack the midsection and shoulder. So, I mean, clearly Starks is a babyface placeholder challenger. Kind of makes sense because we do have a mega heel, so the face coming out of this makes sense. And it gives Starks like a taste of the top of the card.
Yeah, that's
right?
exactly what I was thinking.
Like a trial
Funny
balloon
enough.
to see how well he's received at that level.
If there was hat in the ring.
And hopefully, because this tournament did elevate Ethan Page a little bit, so I hope he can
He
maintain
doesn't like
that.
drop down. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how, but like keep him. He's worthwhile.
I
like-
agree. I'm hoping he maintains the status he sort of eurned here.
Yeah,
But
he's
yeah,
like-
I like this match.
And yeah, I guess it does kind of benefit. So like it makes more sense for Starks now because now that MJF has leaned back into
Right.
being an absolute dick
Kind of
bag.
means
like,
you gotta have a face coming.
and I think Starks is a good face to have there, and then like it kind of gets him up there for a bit at least. Like,
and
so
when's that match?
Winter's coming.
Which is how long?
The 14th, I think.
Okay, because I was gonna say, I wonder if Starks will still be selling any injuries by then.
Couple weeks.
Yeah.
You wish. But yeah, so I thought this was pretty solid. They were able to tell like a pretty solid in-ring story, like you said, with the mounting injuries for Starks. Throughout the tournament, gave Paige an easy target, very glaring.
Yep, and let the babyface be resilient and win despite
And
it.
I thought Paige's offense with that was pretty good. Starks took some pretty nice stuff too, like missing the suicide dive. I thought was really well done.
Yes, it was.
Starks looked good too. He sold it really well and then made a solid comeback. The win for him makes sense, even though I don't think he'll win the title. Like, it's pretty small chance.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty much zero chance.
I like the spear, but I wish it would lead up to Rochambeau. I mean, I guess I understand not using
Can't do it today, yeah.
But, like, he still could, because I'm pretty sure he did it to Cage, and if you can do it to Cage, you can do it to Paige.
Well, it's because he was selling the injury this time, though.
He was injured there, too.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just like, maybe not as much, but
I guess.
still.
Maybe that injured it more.
But, like, Cage is... If you can do it to Cage, you can do it to Paige.
Yeah, for
sure. Because Cage is big, and Paige is
taller, but not as probably heavy.
not as gigantic, muscular.
Right.
Next we get a Joe Wardlow Hobbs promo thing stuff. So it was just about like kind of recap the finish of the triple threat, and then Wardlow kind of talked about how Joe hit him with the belt shot. So the last thing he remembered was the Powerbomb Symphony, and then he didn't have the title, so he kind of went back to watch, and then obviously Joe took the title, and he says Joe's not the best man in the room. He's not the TNT champion. He is, no, and he's coming for it back. So I thought it was pretty fine. No surprise the feud isn't done yet. I'm just hoping Joe kind of keeps the title for a bit, 'cause I don't really want him to win the title just to kind of elevate Wardlow more.
No, I
don't
either.
care anymore.
No.
And if you're going to elevate anyone, elevate Hobbs. Yes, it's heel, but
yes.
give it to Hobbs.
Agree. I thought this is basically all Wardlow needed to say here. And again, it's like they're kind of keeping things slow here, right? We get no explanation from Joe, no anything from him.
I know Joe's like kind of older. He's like later in his career, but he deserves a bit of a run with this. I'd like him as the double TV champ.
Yeah.
And I don't think Wardlow needs it. Not that he's going to move up. I don't think he deserves it.
I don't know what they do with Wardlow now, to be honest. He's just kind of there.
I don't know. I
don't know. He's not super interesting to me. Like, he's cool. Like, the match with Cage, I remember I really liked that match. But
I don't know. I feel like Joe fits more... He fits more in Ring of Honor, but I almost want Wardlow there so that he can do stuff, but I don't really have to be bothered with it.
Yeah, I guess we'll see where this goes, and we'll have to hear from Joe probably next week, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Clarify it a bit.
I don't think we need it back on Wardlow, though.
I don't either.
Next we get Cargill Interview at their confrontation with Bow Wow. Because...
Celebrity stuff.
Like, why?
I don't know. I don't care. But
I don't know. She said she's not giving more clout to Bow Wow. I don't even know who that is. And don't tell me because I don't care.
Isn't it Snoop Dogg's son?
Is that just because of the name?
Yeah, Lil Bow Wow, Snoop Dogg.
That'd be kind of funny, actually. I don't care. And she's happy to finally have her belt back. No thanks to the baddies. And Velvet is back as well. They'll celebrate next week. So they kind of leave, but Sterling kind of holds Hogan back and gets her to sign something acknowledging she did not hold up her end of the bargain. She is no longer required in the baddies.
Oh, he was discovered by Snoop Dogg.
Oh.
I think.
So then he'd pattern his name. Okay.
I guess so. His son. I don't know anything about anything clearly. Yeah, I don't know. Jade, again, I already said it. She feels a bit stagnant, right? It's similar promos, similar matches, no end in sight to the winning streak.
I guess we have a bit of a
development is that Hogan and
I thought it'd be Layla Gray.
I like Kiera Hogan, so I'm hoping she gets a little bit of something out of this, but probably not because it's the women's division and it's AEW, and
and I just think like
don't have room.
It is the women's division AEW, but also I feel like there's bigger stars than her.
There are, but I mean they could turn her into something. I don't know.
I don't see her as like she could be a top one in Impact, but
yeah. This segment
Impact is a different league.
It is. This segment was just kind of there for me.
Like Tasha Steelz ain't winning no belts in AEW, you know?
No. I think they're kind of done with that experiment too. It seems. Yeah. It pushed her back down the card a bit. Feels like.
It was fine. I don't really care. The Bow Wow thing. Not only do I not understand, but I don't care. I could not be bothered at all. Like this could just go away and die, and I don't care.
Yep. I don't.
Like I'm surprised Hogan's out. Would have expected to be Layla Gray, but I guess Hogan was the one who kept failing like a dumb little chump.
Right.
Next we get Death Triangle versus the Elite in the Trios Championship Best of 7 Series match too.
Who cares? Let's go.
Again?
No. Terrible.
Oh, darn.
6 of the greatest wrestlers in the world again together?
I don't wanna.
No. Don't make me. Sorry, go ahead.
And I had to take notes on it. Like, I don't care.
I didn't really take notes.
Well, that's good because it sucked.
Yeah, right.
Well, if yes, Chicago.
Yeah.
Because Chicago, let's just say they're not the biggest fans of the Elite. In light of certain events, perhaps, even though a certain native was at fault largely, but I digress, who shall remain nameless.
Right.
Yes,
Elite did not get a welcoming reaction in this one, but
CM Punk.
but it almost like
I don't know.
it works for them because they would love that. Like just the D-bags that they are.
I don't know, like
would
in
heel or face.
kayfabe
They just in both probably. Like I really think they don't like it doesn't
I
matter.
don't know, Omega. I saw Omega saying before the show not to like for fans to let it go.
Yeah.
Then proceeded to bite
Right.
and hit him with a GTS.
GTS, exactly. So they know.
I don't know. I don't care. I love it. Like I
think
feel
it's
like
funny.
I feel like the Punk worshippers will be like, "Oh, see, the Elite are a bunch of douchebags or whatever," and like I don't know, something like that. Like they're a bunch of like pricks, and they're just like gonna keep kind of like, I don't know how to say it, but like teasing it or whatever, like kind of. But like I don't know. I don't care. And it was Punk's fault. Where no matter how you look at it.
And I don't know why. If it were WWE, I would be like, I don't think all your fans might be in on the whole press conference fight stuff, but I feel like AEW fans, the vast majority are, so that they can just understand this is Chicago, this is Punk's people, they hate the Elite, and next week it won't be like that. Right? And WWE would be like, I don't know if all of your fans are clued in and that you should really play into it because you're kind of playing into the smart fans or whatever, but I think AEW, most people know what's going on, right?
Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. It was really funny because I think certain people will view it another way, but I think either way you look at it, it was Punk's fault for the whole thing. So I don't care what the Elite do. The Elite can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, and I don't think it bothered them at all.
Yeah, like I don't know. Punk sucks. He can go suck a poop.
Okay, let's stay classy.
Classy man, Punk.
Keep going, man. I got appointments.
So there's a handshake between Omega and Phoenix, and he just triggers him because that's how you do.
Right off the hop.
And then a brawl breaks out, and the Elite beat down Phoenix. So the Bucks simultaneously powerbomb Pac and Penta on the apron on opposite hardest sides of the ring.
Yep. Those are the hardest sides. The other two sides aren't quite as hard.
Well, they're all the hardest, all the hardest parts of the ring.
Yes,
but like
that's true.
Opposite hardest sides. You know, the two sides are hardest, but like the opposite ones.
Got it.
Yeah. So Omega lines up to run for the tope con hilo. You know that he be doing.
He does.
And also Pac has an orbital mask, or so not orbital because it's not eyes, but like a nose protector mask.
Yes.
And so the Bucks are holding him for the dive, but then Phoenix just jumps in with rolling cutter, spikes Omega because I don't know how he takes that without dying.
Like on his face, you can watch him land on his face.
He's kind of like
on the
like kind of diagonal too. He's
awesome.
Like I don't know how he takes that like that, but it gets an audible reaction out of me every time. It's just like
I actually wrote it down.
I love it. Yeah, I saw the clip of that on Instagram. It was sweet.
It was.
Then he does like that spinning, just like the dive where he just spins like 5 times to the Bucks. So that was cool. Guitar Crusher by Omega for 2, which is a move I shouldn't really like because it's just like jumping over for a face buster.
But it was on to Pac, right? So his face is already busted.
Oh yeah, well, and I don't know. I just like how Omega does it. Yeah. I don't know why, but Omega bites Pac on the arm.
References.
Not Days Steel. I understood that reference,
Uh-huh.
which in itself is a reference because Captain America said that.
America.
And then runs at Pac and gets killed with the snap German. Again, how does he not die?
We watched that twice because it looked amazing. Just like, lightning.
It's partially on Pac for just like doing it so fast and getting it, but like Omega just takes it like a champ.
Omega's like, go ahead, do it as hard as you want.
I genuinely don't understand how he doesn't like kill himself doing this, but like him and Pac take face bumps like up with the best, you know? Next Penta gets a hot tag flurry, once again wearing a vest though. Then the Elite rip off Pac's protective mask. So I guess like how bad is it if he can do that?
I bet you it's real and he just trusts those dudes to not actually cave his face in. I think that's my guess. I could be wrong.
I wouldn't be surprised. Triple super kick by the Elite.
But it's funny because he covered his face.
Yeah.
And then he moved his hands right before they kicked him. So I'm like, okay, he's going to protect himself a little bit with his broken nose. Nope. He moved them out of the way right in time to get kicked.
They called that a BTE trigger. I'm like, are you stupid?
Yeah, it wasn't the case.
Not at all. Not any of them. It's not even like there's a V trigger in it. No. Lucha Bros broke the pin at 2. There's the Escalera and like the Spaceman Poncha, Tornillo, Fosbury Flop, whatever you want to call it, by Nick. Which I love that. I forgot to mention, but like at one point, Matt did like the moonsault where he's got like the praying hands, like for I think because of the song. Like it just looks so graceful for some reason when he's doing that, because he maintains that, just flipping back, and like it's such a clean landing too. Omega hits a V trigger and then goes for a one-winged angel. Pac gets out, then Omega hits him with a GTS for near fall. LOL.
Yeah,
that's my exact note. There's a mule kick, low blow by Matt when the ref was distracted. And then the finish comes off the back of that one. Alex is arguing with the ref after a low blow, so Matt gets past a hammer like the one Pac used. Then Penta comes from behind and whacks Matt with the hammer of his own, and then Pac covers him for the win. So Death Triangle are up 2-0, and Phoenix once again not too thrilled with the way that went
Phoenix
down.
Was the one that used the hammer,
but like that was kind of like, well, because he
last
wasn't
resort.
He wasn't. Well, you could see he wasn't happy about that after that either.
Right.
'Cause that was like, and they kind of drive that home here too. Like that's a one-winged angel, you know.
Yeah, he was not in full support of the.
There's no chance you get out of that.
Yeah, another excellent match between these two teams, right? It doesn't matter that we just saw this, and I thought like the addition of Pac's face injury and the Elite having no problem targeting his face, even
and
to
the
Chicago
point of, Heat.
Yes, even to the point of taking off the shield and hitting him with stuff to his face.
Literally kicking him in the face simultaneously with 3 people.
And I really thought it was a nice touch to have Death Triangle win to go up 2-0 here, because we all assume really it's going 7, right? So this just adds to some of the drama. The Elite mocking Punk with the biting and the GTS. For me, again, that's like on brand for them, real life and character. They just don't care and would think that that's funny, right?
I think it's funny.
They're amusing themselves and their friends and some of the fans along the way, I think. I don't feel like we got a lot of Penta in this one, but
he got a solid hot take 3.
And clearly it wasn't as strong as the pay-per-view match, just time and circumstance for that one, right?
But it was different.
But it was an excellent match still. Like, you can't complain. This was an awesome TV match. So I really enjoyed it, as I'm sure you're going to hear us just repetitively say we really enjoy every one of the matches these guys have. But yeah, this was awesome.
We get to hear it twice in every show. Yeah, I love this. It was another one. A lot of fun action here. It was a lot more fast-paced. I think, again, time constraints on TV, and I think I like the one from the pay-per-view a bit more, but we still have plenty more to go. This one was different, which I like, so it'll stand out a bit because of the Chicago Heat.
Yeah.
Elite kind of leaning into that a bit, and Pac's fresh injury, again, creates a different bit of a story here. It was still great. I wish they could have gone longer, but we have more, so it's okay. And they could have a great match with practically any amount of time within reason.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the spots were sick here, too. Like, I don't know how Omega keeps taking stuff like that, like the cutter and the German, without killing himself, because it looks so good. Like, it just, like, I don't know, the way he takes the cutter, especially, because, like, I don't know, that's just, I don't know, it was so cool. The Pucks.
Canadian hockey reference. There you go, folks. The
Pucks.
Only hocky reference you're gonna get.
Oh yeah, I think I missed it here, but I guess they also mocked Punk screwing up a buckshot.
Oh
like
really?
Matt did. I don't know. I saw that, so I guess
I don't remember it.
It was here. Maybe it was. I don't think it was on commercial, but I don't know.
That was one of my complaints. Is that this is a match I might have actually watched picture in picture, and we did not have that option.
I think it might have been. I don't know, because I saw a clip of it, so it did happen. Like Matt did like he flipped over for a buckshot and like then landed on his ass purposely, and then like so it's kind of funny. And
I mean,
like,
they're juvenile and it's super immature, but like that's them, right? That's them.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they are.
Most of the time it is, yeah. And like I thought it was funny because someone called it, like, would you call that a young buckshot lariat?
Like, oh.
Yeah. But so the Bucks had some dives to the outside that look pretty sweet, and like they just look really nice. And Phoenix did like a Toby Con heel through the ropes that just like it was way too smooth. Like he just effortlessly he's to have that level of talent. Like he's just nuts. Penta had a solid hot tech flurry, probably the least prominent in the match, but still he kind of played in the finish at least, so I guess he gets that. And the in-ring story underneath with the Elite attempting to isolate Pac the whole time, which they kind of drew attention to, the commentary did, which I think was nice. Kind of kept a different story in the match, which I really liked. And I like the finish continues that story with that triangle kind of cheating as a last resort. And like I like that they kind of like had it ready, because the Elite were going to try to like one-up them and kind of like be like, oh, you're going to do that? We'll do it to you. And then Penta's like, nope.
Yeah.
And so it kind of plays in the finish from the last match. Kind of Phoenix is continually still not on board with that. So I kind of like that kind of playing off that, like, or kind of continuing that storyline, which I think is pretty cool. And then surprised that Triangle won again, but I ain't complaining. Good for them, except for the one next week, because we going at it again.
Yep.
And it should open.
Run it back.
Have them open for once. God damn it.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Next we have Renee Paquette announcement. She announces that due to the extent of her injuries, Shawn Michaels, Thunder Rosa, is relinquishing the women's title, and Hayter is no longer interim. Also, they confirmed later on Toni Storm will retroactively be viewed as official champ, non-interim.
All makes sense, and I'm happy with all of it.
Baker comes out. Obviously, Baker and Hayter come out. Baker thanks Renee for everyone telling them what they already knew. The Hayter's the undisputed champion. She calls her Nene. That's my thing.
Yeah.
For Nene.
Yeah, you have a friend that's called Nene.
Yeah, we do that for, well, it was his brother's friends, but we adopted it full force.
I call him Nene.
Yeah. I got Miss Brimble to call him Nene.
Nice.
I think even Wilson got in on it once.
Nice.
And it says they were never considering using interim anyways. Then they walk to the ring for a 3-way tag for no reason at all.
For some reason.
Yeah. I still don't get it. Because it's Hayter and Baker, which is a team, versus Jazz, which is Jay and Timeout. TJ. TJ. They're back.
Right.
And so they're a team, and then Willow and Sky Blue, because they're a team.
Yeah, so Baker grabbed the mic from Hayter, right? And so Hayter seems okay with it, but I think it's like for now.
She looks like Davenport with the bangs, which I didn't like.
Because clearly things are going here, and I
don't know, it's because he had me at Hayter, yeah. Baker, yeah. Willow, sure. Sky Blue, what? Jazz, huh? Like,
I didn't make any notes on this match other than my very brief reaction, and I didn't even like put it as a match here somehow. But anyways, that's how much. I just don't even. I have like my reaction to the match, but I don't have it written down. I just have Renee with Jamie Hayter, and then everything after that.
Yeah. Hayter hit a double suplex to Blue and Ty. Snap suplex to Ty for one by Hayter. The snap jackhammer thing.
Snap hammer. That's fine. I'm coining it now. So smash contraption. You got to know if you're a regular listener to this show.
Smash contraption.
And the snap hammer is her.
Is there anything else? I feel like we gotta have done more than that.
Could be.
We also have the ranking number 5.
We need a glossary of
of
FNS wrestling isms.
Yeah, FNS isms.
Nice.
I think smash contraption is because honestly, I've legitimately adopted that as the name to the point where I get a little confused when they say Big Rig because like. I don't know, that was the funniest thing, and now I've like legitimately just adopted that. Like, what did they call it before the Big Rig? I don't.
You are locked into.
See, it's just like
I don't know,
and it sounds so right too. Like it's just like it's what's similar to
and that's just us joking because
Shatter
Machine. So
I almost said Smash Machine. I was like, that's not right. Shatter Machine. Honestly, I've completely forgotten about Shatter Machine. It's honestly to the point where it's just like it's forever been Smash Contraption.
Contact them through Instagram and say, nope, it's the Smash.
It's the Smash Contraption.
Yeah,
it's so good. Oh wait, Death Rhombus. That's another one.
Right.
And whenever they get a 4th member, I would very much like Death Rhombus because it just amuses me greatly for no reason at all.
Carry on. We digress.
Carry on.
Carrying Cross.
Wayward Son.
Oh, right, that too.
Hey, no, not Carrying Cross. No, gross. Ew, gross. There's a fisherman neckbreaker to Sky Blue by Baker. Then there was a kickathon where everyone's just kicking someone else.
I thought that was fun.
That was alright. Code Blue by Sky. But the pin immediately gets broken by Baker. It looks cool, but the setup is so stupid because it's like
the person has
they're
to be like
bent over and she runs like from the side and kind of like does like a spin into it, which I think is a stupid setup for it. Like it's stupid, like it sucks. Like it's like when Baker runs for a curb stomp, which is cool.
It's like the Eclipse when someone has to stand there staggering in the corner.
But it's like the curb stomp where it's like they're running from the side, but it's like it's the dumbest way to do it.
Yeah,
at least come from the front. That's what she said.
Okay.
Finish comes when Hayter hits the backbreaker, the hate breaker, if you want to call it that, and then a curb stomp from Baker, both to Sky Blue, and they pick up the win. Yeah, so this was fine. I guess at least they try to get a decent amount of talent in for one women's match. Like at least they like
you're looking for something positive.
At least they included like a decent amount of people there, so I guess props to them here. I just wish they chose better talent.
Yeah, I thought it was like a basic match.
I can't remember a single memorable thing Jazz did.
The flurry at the end was fun, I thought.
Yeah, ending stretch was alright, but generally this was not much.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it was okay. I guess like kind of heats up Hayter and Baker. So
And I like that their issues don't even seem close to boiling over yet, right? Yet another storyline where we know
it's
something's
either
coming, but
like
we're
they
taking our
are
time.
fine, like
Yeah.
legitimately, or Baker's like so good, like she's like maybe she's like overcompensating for being pissed, like she's like masking it completely
Waiting for her
by
opportunity.
like being like like supporting Hater. Like
Yes.
either she is or she's like incredibly masking it, and to the point where like you're looking for nuances or anything,
Right.
and there's none there because like maybe she's just like she's masking it completely, right? Like that could be a possibility.
She did walk out of the ring first after the like arm raising and stuff. So that's what I was kind of paying attention to, her
That's
facial reaction while she did that. But
Mhm.
nothing. So yeah, it seems like they're slowly going to do this one as well, which I'm fine with.
And then next there was an FTR thing with Top Flight, which was just like quick, like they've been noticing, Top Flight, like they've been doing good, and like so then Top Flight challenged them for an ROH tag title match
Right.
on Black Friday Rampage, so that's cool. They accept the challenge. It's a pretty basic like babyface thing, but I think it's pretty solid as long as Darius doesn't get injured.
Mine wrote brief and totally fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Like I mean, and pretty basic build to a Rampage match, but like not like should be a good one. I would imagine. Did you watch that?
What?
This
The
match.
The match? What match?
Top Flight FTR
No. Oh,
Rampage.
did I get that far? It was so late at night. I think I did
I thought
actually.
you were watching
I
Rampage.
watched it.
No, wait, that was last night.
I watched it.
You did?
Yeah, it was good.
Hmm.
And I told you, Dante finally screwed up the leaping onto the top rope.
Bound to happen eventually.
And so they even replayed it though, because he still kind of like he slipped and still fell onto one FTR, I think, but not all. But yeah, it was pretty good.
Nice. So next we get we hear from the Acclaimed. So they you get the rap, the usual shtick.
It was this time. It was interesting because the rap was basically a recap of Full Gear, right? They were giving
right.
the whole bunch of titles changed hands, but we kept ours, and then there was reference to some other things. So it was sort of like
kind of cool.
It was sort of them summarizing Full Gear, which I thought was an interesting change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fans are chanting, "Oh, Scissor Me Daddy." Bowen says there's a lot to be thankful for because they kept the titles, which means everybody loves the Acclaimed. And Bowen says his shoulder's feeling better. Billy Gunn takes the tape off. They do the Scissor Me Daddy ass, but they get cut off by Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, Sanjay Dutt,
I literally,
and Satnam Singh.
my visceral reaction when Jeff Jarrett walked through the screen was I just rolled my eyes.
I was groaning, and then I kept saying, "Why is he still here?
Right.
Why is he still here?"
Fixing to wrestle more too. Like be there, be in the.
No, don't be there.
Well, I mean, off camera, be in whatever backstage. Get away.
Yeah.
Don't need you on TV.
Yeah. So Jay and Dub were mad that they mentioned them in losing at Full Gear.
Right.
Darn. So now we need a tag title shot. Jarrett came in talking, and the fans chanted "TNA sucks," which was pretty funny.
I think yeah.
that was really funny. And Jet, he threatened to hit Caster with a guitar and powder.
That's what he does.
Jeff's he's just spouted off some of his usual lines, and then they did the scissor thing. Yeah, so this was okay.
I thought it was fun, other than Jeff Jarrett.
It was a solid promo, like not a lot of substance again, but it's pretty like they're really over, so it's fun even
it's
if
what
there's
the
not
crowd
a lot of
wanted. They
right.
got it.
I'll say I wasn't too thrilled with seeing Dutton sing, and then I was pissed when Jarrett's still around.
Me too.
And maybe even a tag title program. Like, why? Jarrett serves no purpose, and he sucks. He's not that great in the ring. And guess what? They didn't even win at Full Gear.
Right.
It's not even like they have momentum.
No.
They don't even have momentum.
Beloved momentum.
Not even momentum.
Nope, Jeff Jarrett adds nothing, so I don't know why he needs to be included. I was disappointed a little bit, but the rest I thought was fun, and it's what the crowd wants, so they got what they wanted, and I don't know why we need Jarrett involved.
I don't know if
anything.
I'd rather see Lethal and Jarrett or Sting and Darby challenge for the titles, because I don't know.
They shouldn't. Neither.
No, neither, but like in a perfect world, but clearly, evidently, this is not that.
I agree.
Next we get our main event, which is Jericho versus Ishii,
and I'll bet
you ROH World Title, which over-delivered.
I'll bet you the first half of this is about the easiest recap ever.
Oh my god, yeah. So there's a back suplex by Ishii. Jericho hits him with a shoulder tackle, which just kind of sends him back to the ropes, and then he kind of knocks Jericho down with one of his own. Chop exchange, which to my surprise continued through the entire commercial break, and now Jericho's chest is dripping with blood.
So it's probably 4 or 5
remember,
minutes.
like, what was it, Briscoe's, when his, like, Dax's chest was kind of blistered with blood? Like, he is just
dripping.
It was insane. I was like, aghast by that.
Yeah.
Like it
was
was
intense.
something. Like they were just chopping through now that would be interesting to be there live. Just they're chopping for like 5 minutes or something.
Straight.
That is nuts. Even more corner chops by Ishii to the point where I was just like, stop,
Yeah.
like stop, like just do something else. Like just stop. Not even like that it was boring, but just like for Jericho's
Just
poor,
vicious. Yes.
like for Jericho's sake, just stop chopping him. There's the crowd count punches by Jericho, but eventually ECE kind of picks him up off that, carries him with a stack powerbomb for 2. Jericho spikes Ishii with the DT on the apron, which is pretty gnarly.
Yes. Looked awesome.
There's a Lions up by Jericho for a 1 count. Ishii gets back up as he does. Codebreaker for a near fall by Jericho. Sliding lariat by Ishii for 2. Then he comes back with the codebreaker of his own. Then what falls with a big lariat for a near fall. The finish comes when Jericho gets Ishii in the walls of Jericho, but he almost gets to a rope break. And then he switches to line tamer, and Ishii flips him off, then taps out.
I thought that was an awesome tap out.
Post match, Jericho walks to the announce table and has his sights hit Riccaboni again for some reason. Then Claudio kind of clocks him with a right
Yeah.
to end the show. I'm just gonna go because I thought it was a pretty good TV match. It turned out much better than I expected.
Yeah.
I didn't expect much from this, and I was completely caught off guard by just dripping blood from his chest. Like if it's the Moxley equivalent from his chest. It was just like it was a very interesting visual. And then now Ishii's like his entire forearm where he would be chopping is just like red
and blood splattered on his face.
It was
it's
so
Jericho's
interesting.
Blood
Yeah,
splattered
I would
on
love to
his
see
face.
that like happen like as he's getting busted open.
It was crazy.
It was really interesting, and it's like I just wanted him to stop. Jericho's poor chest was just looking worse than Dax ever did, and it definitely picked up in the latter stage. I think
Yeah.
some solid near falls, pretty good all things considered. Because I didn't expect a lot from here. Like Ishii's solid with the right guy, and Jericho's been doing great lately. But I don't know, for some reason I didn't think it would click that well, but it did. It definitely did. And they point out this is the second straight clean defense for Jericho, which is interesting to say the least. I think I wish he did like the cheating every match for like to be dishonorable, but still, I think either way he's been doing really good, and I think Jericho deserves props for what he's been doing.
Agree.
Like he has, I think the
'Cause
year
we were pretty down on him for a while.
absolutely at the beginning of the year he did not start out strong, but I think he's definitely had a bit of a renaissance. Like we were very low on the Jazz thing, but I think
but
for
the
better or
matches
for
he's
worse,
had have been good.
for better or for worse, Jazz has kind of revived him and brought him back to a prominent role, and now he's like, I think he definitely deserves props for it.
And he got in great shape, and I think he can just do more than
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
could for a little while,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, this was like and I think what you said kind of quickly is important. Against the right opponent, Ishii is like some of his matches are amazing.
Even in this, and like you were
but
saying,
you
like
have to be willing to.
Jericho's really old for like because Ishii was a young
He
boy.
was talking about remembering Ishii as a young boy, and you're like, well, Ishii
I mean,
is a veteran.
Jericho is probably young too, but
Yeah.
like still that
Yeah.
he's that old.
So I thought this was just the first half was almost entirely striking because sometimes Ishis get too much, but then a wrestling
This
match
was just
broke
like
out.
it was nuts. Like the fact that he chopped him to bleed that much is
Yeah.
absurd.
Then they started wrestling in the second half, and I got really into this, right? Like you said, Ishii against the right opponent is fantastic because he's just a punishment-absorbing machine, and he's just defiant, and he'll kick out at one, and he'll jump back up, right? So even finding a way for him to defiantly tap out, I thought was good. So I really enjoyed this. I'm a big Ishii fan, but sometimes if he doesn't get enough time or enough build to things, his matches just become
Yeah.
forearms and
I was
chops.
a little annoyed that this was the main event, but I think it ended up delivering like
I really liked
like a
it,
main
yeah.
event should. So
I quite enjoyed the match by the end too.
absolutely.
So a good way to end the show. Overall thoughts, I guess, which I didn't really prepare for, so I'll just
Me
look at
neither.
it now. Opening segment, really liked it.
I saw in a What Culture where you were getting turned like they give it like they do ups and downs. They
Yeah.
did 12 ups, 0 downs, which is
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say I didn't really like the Hager Cassidy match. Didn't do much for me, but a lot of the really quick segments and interviews I thought were really good.
so
at
much like little tidbits,
slow burning stuff,
yeah,
right? Not
which
too many
is-
details, so I really
I
like
think they're
that.
kind of getting back into their peak storytelling powers that we were seeing, and the kind of has been missing a little bit.
Yes.
Aside from like a few, aside from a few things they've been doing like before the pay per view, I think now it seems like that's kind of returned a bit.
I agree. And we got an awesome trios match. We got a really good main event that again those matches feel really different. And then you throw in the Page match, which I kind of liked as well, right? So a lot of really good stuff on the show. I'm gonna give this a B plus. It feels like just barely below an A range for me.
I think maybe if the Atlantic title match was
Exactly what I was gonna
something
say.
else.
I agree. So B plus, good show. really looking forward to the storylines that are coming out of Full Gear, so I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, I quite like this show. Main event and the trios match is what I would recommend. You?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think this is a pretty great show. Like a nice way to follow up from Full Gear, because Full Gear gives you a lot coming out of it, right? So I think they did a really great job of following up with a lot of that, like slow burning MJF. We'll see him next week. Like Lee and Swerve thing, I think was handled really well. Like even Joe Wardlow, like that's not, we didn't get a lot from there.
True.
I think a lot of like the main points you'd want from there is like they at least touched on, like even Hater, like they didn't really do much with her, like, but they gave her like a time here, gave her a win, so like even that was followed up on. I think trios match again delivered very well. I loved it a lot. So I think that Best of 7 series is just gonna be constant entertainment. Like I think
Yes.
even if like Dynamite kind of lets us down, because sometimes that happens. I mean, I don't want that to happen, obviously, but even if they do, if like in the next coming months, I think at least unless they take a break, we know that there's going to be that bright spot.
Yeah,
in
they've
the trios
announced
match.
when all of them are. I forget.
Wait,
what the
actually, I
lineup
can
was,
find it
but-
really quick. Hold on. Well, I'll try to keep talking
Yeah,
while I'm
keep
doing
going. Finish your.
like the
look it up in a
Atlantic
minute.
title match, I wasn't my favorite, but
The aftermath was cool.
yeah, I think the aftermath made it kind of redeemed itself, right? I think
Right.
House of Black being back, I'm really happy with that. Did I save this? I wish I did. I don't know. I feel like I know one of them is next week, so on the 30th we'll get another one. And then I know one of them is at Winter's Coming.
Yes, those are the two I remember as well.
I feel like, where is it?
And then I'm not sure. Anyways, what's your letter grade for the show?
Oh, here it is. Sorry, I got it. So obviously, match 1 was Full Gear. Then we just had match 2. Match 3 is the 30th. The match 4 is the Winter's Coming that I said. Then match 5 is If Necessary. So the 5, 6, and 7 are If Necessary, of course. Which I guess technically they might not be. December 21st, and then December 28th, which is a New Year's Smash, and then it'll carry to January 11th, which is
Nice.
I guess that's your week break there, because I think I guess no, there's 1 week break. I think the week after.
Biggest challenge might be them staying healthy the way they wrestle.
Right. I think there's like after match 3 there's a break, like I think because there's going to be a December episode, I think, in between that and Winter's Coming.
Right.
And then I think there's a break before the If Necessary final match. So anyways, I think that'll be constant entertainment anyways. And I think a lot of the segments delivered. To go back to this, I forgot to mention Paige Starks like that, decent enough. Like I think it was a pretty good TV match. The women's match didn't suck, it just wasn't that great. But at least they did put in like a solid amount of talent there. So I guess if you're gonna
The
get people
final
in there.
flurry was fun, I thought.
Yeah, I guess if you're gonna get people in there, they got in a solid amount of people. Again, the main event over delivered. Like I didn't expect much of that, and I actually ended up liking it a decent amount. So I think a general B+ show. It's like a couple things that delivered more. Like if the women's match a little better, if the Atlantic title match
Then
is
it's an
better,
A.
then it would be an A. But I
I
think
agree.
it delivered on a lot of fronts. I think
Me too.
it was a really good show. I think there's a lot of things you could check out there. I would definitely recommend the trios match, of course, but also I'd say check out the Ring of Honor title match. I liked it a lot more than I expected, so I would say check that out too. And a B+ is more than fair.
Nice. All right, well, let's move into some trivia. I feel like it might be repetitive, but again, I'm not going back through 122 episodes to see what I did. And this
We don't know.
podcast is completely free all the time with no ads or anything. So, and timestamps are there if you think you've heard this and you want to skip it. I can't remember. I feel like some of the questions we've done and maybe some we haven't. But anyways, regardless, we're going to swing into what we like to call off the top of his head. All right, so trying to be timely, which is what makes me think I've done this before. We're going to do Survivor
Yeah,
Series.
definitely.
We have? Damn it.
No,
All
I
right.
mean like I don't know, but like
Feels
that
like it.
sounds like something you would do
Oh,
and
well.
have done.
If I don't remember, maybe listeners don't remember anyways. And again, timestamps are there if you want to skip it. So,
Yep.
Survivor Series, first held in what year?
I want to say it was 88,
Very close.
89,
Other way.
87.
Correct. So, it was at least partially created, the Survivor Series event, to directly compete with another company's Thanksgiving tradition. Which company and what tradition?
Right. It was WCW, right? Or NWA.
NWA and the match or the show they usually do then?
What was it? Was it Starrcade?
It is Starrcade.
Okay, I thought so.
You know what bugs me about Starrcade? Why is there 2 R's?
It's a trademark.
I guess, right?
It's like Braun Breaker.
So if WrestleMania was WWE's first annual pay-per-view, Survivor Series was what?
Third?
Close.
Was it second?
It was
Okay,
the
I was
second.
I knew it was between that or SummerSlam.
Right. So 1988 Survivor Series marked the first time a double turn ever happened during a WWF pay-per-view. On this occasion, it involved tag teams. Do you know who they were?
Wasn't it Demolition and someone?
And yeah. Think of
Natural Disasters?
No, think of
No.
more of a Road Warriors ripoff.
Oh, wait, I said Demolition, right?
Yeah, so them. Well, yeah, they're a ripoff too.
I was gonna say,
but
I was
even
confused.
another one
So ripoff of
Road
LOD?
Warriors. Yeah.
Okay.
So Demolition and.
Oh, Powers of Pain.
Correct.
Yes.
And so the
Because
next
Fuji
question.
is the central.
There you go.
The centerpiece.
Next question was who was the manager involved on the turn?
Right, because he
Fuji.
turned on Demolition, probably.
Which superstar big man debuted at Survivor Series 1990?
Undertaker. Wait, sorry, Gobbledygooker.
No.
Taker.
No.
What? Taker.
No.
Taker.
It's saying Kane. Is that wrong?
Survivor Series 1990.
That's what I have. Not right?
He debuted in 97.
Oh, maybe that's
A
just a
Bad
typo
Blood.
by me.
You mean Kane the Undertaker?
Then that was the next question. What was his original name? You got it.
Okay, so
Why
that-
would you have Undertaker and then Kane the Undertaker? That's bad. Like, I guess they realized that and switched it. All right, so 97, sorry. Yeah, 90's way too early. now
Yeah,
that I'm thinking
Kane was
about
at
it.
97 in Bad Blood. It wasn't even Survivor Series 97.
I won't blame the resources. I'll blame my typing, we'll say. So which now deceased legend is the only wrestler to survive a traditional tag team elimination match in each of the first 3 Survivor Series shows? He's the only
Warrior?
one to go undefeated at the event in the 80s as well.
Warrior.
Not Warrior. Similar
Hogan.
profile, though. No.
Savage.
Yes, Macho Man. Which celebrity participated in a Survivor Series match in 1989? So celebrity, kind of air quotes, and if you want a hint, think about a really bad wrestling-related movie from that time period.
Oh, Zeus.
Correct. That if you haven't
Oh, God.
listened, we reviewed
Why did we
that
do
movie
that? When did we do that? Why did we do
long
that?
time ago.
Was that our anniversary thing or whatever?
That might have been. It's our only movie review that
That's
we've
so
done,
stupid.
and it was a great
I'm
film.
ashamed that that's the movie review of all the movies I've seen in my life.
Yeah.
That's the movie we reviewed.
And remember, we planned to watch it twice, and we just were like, we can't.
No, it's so stupid.
Once for quote unquote enjoyment, and once to take notes, and we're like, no, one time
No.
only. I'm out.
I don't think I ever want to watch that ever again.
Which two forever linked wrestlers first battled for the WWF Championship in the main event of SummerSlam? Sorry, why? Because I just put SS as a shortened.
That's
Survivor
why I hate that, because it's like the acronym is the exact same.
Survivor Series 92.
Brett and John.
Correct. There was an unusual championship match at the 1993 Survivor Series that involved a tag team from an outside company. What was the company and what was the team?
Was it Smoky Mountain?
It was Smoky Mountain.
I don't
correct?
know the team, but
Think of a famous.
was it Rock and Roll?
It was
Okay.
Rock and Roll Express. Do you know who they faced?
I should, but I
The
don't
Heavenly
remember.
Bodies.
Okay,
I don't know
I
why you
should
know
know
that.
that.
Name the last time a non-WWF belt, excluding the ECW championships that was briefly revived, right? So the last non-WWF belt ever defended at Survivor Series.
Was it NWA thing?
It was, no.
North American title or something.
What were the belts being defended?
No clue.
So WCW titles were merged with existing WWF ones.
What? That's what that count? Damn it.
Yeah. What year was that then?
2001.
I know you knew, but it was
Like,
because you were assuming those were
like-
already WWF ones.
or like that they were like unified or whatever. Like
Yeah.
I thought like getting titles defended, because
yeah,
that probably
true.
happened.
Defended, I guess they are, and then unified.
I guess
technically,
that technically counts, but
just
unclear.
to make you say this name. Whether he's entering as champion or challenger, this currently controversial wrestler has never lost a title match at Survivor Series. You'll take an X on this one, take an L just to not say it. Who is it? Aren't I nice? I went out of my way to find one. So who?
CM Punk.
Correct. Very good.
Yeah, because he won the title from Del Rio at Survivor Series 2011. Then that was his big long title run.
Right.
Because then he defended it against Ryback and Cena at 2012. And do you care to guess how that match ended? Would you like to guess?
No. How?
Shield.
Oh, right. This Canadian wrestler has been eliminated
Kenny
from
Omega.
Survivor Series matches under 3 different names in the late 80s and the early 90s. His own name is one, and then 2 other kayfabe names. So I'll take any of those. Canadian wrestler mostly known for tag teams, but had a singles run as well. Like mid-card guy. Tag team champion, maybe mid-card singles champion? Canadian. Heel, always, I think.
Martel.
No.
Is he Canadian?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know why I knew that.
A fellow French-Canadian.
Oh, Mountie.
Correct. Who is?
Is it Jacques?
Jacques Rougeau. Good.
Rougeau, and then wait, isn't there a third one?
I don't know what his third name would have been. It was Jacques Rougeau, the Mountie, and then something else.
I don't know. That makes sense.
Anyways, who's the only man to lose 3 elimination tag matches under 3 different names in 3 different decades? So 99, 2003, 2012. And if you need a hint, because you will, mid-card big man who spent some time in Japan before coming back for the latest one.
Oh, Albert.
Correct. Also known as?
A-Train,
Correct.
Prince Albert, Hip Hop Hippo, Tensai.
There you go. Tensai's the one from coming back from
Lord
Japan.
Tensai.
He was awesome there. He's actually really good. I don't know what their problem. He's a trainer now for them, right? He's an A trainer.
Is he still there?
I think so.
A trainer.
I could be wrong.
He's A trainer.
Who's the only performer to win an elimination tag match in at least 3 different decades? So 99, 2004, 2010. Also the only performer to win an elimination match and a world championship in a second encounter in the same night. After winning his handicap Survivor Series match in 99, he went on to snatch the championship in a triple threat against who then?
Triple H and Rock.
Correct.
Austin.
Who was the champion at that time?
Trips.
Correct. Last one. I figured we'd need to get through quickly. Who is the only performer to be eliminated under 4 different stage names?
Foley?
Nope, spanning the late 90s to early 2000s. And I have a hint that'll help you probably.
Okay.
A former champion, I don't know if it's WWE or whatever, but main champion, who's recently returned to WWE TV in support of a current wrestler. I wouldn't say managing, but he's like speaking for him.
JBL?
Correct.
Oh, right, because he's had like what? JBL, Bradshaw, like I guess different.
Blackjack Bradshaw, probably.
Justin Hawk Bradshaw.
That's probably all of them. Yeah. I would think. Nice.
Yeah,
very good. All right, so then we're going to move into just quickly going over some other things we liked and didn't like from the week of wrestling in a segment we call Highspots and Restholds. So I watched all of NXT. Already mentioned I did not have to watch Impact, so that kind of saved me a little bit of time this week. So looking at NXT, and there's a couple things you watched that I made sure to show you. One I liked, and one that was universally, probably objectively awful, unless you're one of those people like it was so bad it circled back around into entertaining. But we'll get there. So for me, the Resthold was the opening segment with Toxic Attraction that was interrupted by Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. It's just Rose cuts the same promo she always does, right? About how she does everything on her own when she doesn't actually. But the lines that were scripted for the other 2 women this week, and a lot of weeks maybe, did them no favors. Like, I don't think they're good anyways on the mic. Dolan and
oh my god, I saw
JC Jane.
I saw they were playing War Games from last year, and I saw their entrance and like it reminds me how bad they used to be.
They're not
they
much
still
better,
suck, but like
they're better. Yeah.
It reminds me how bad they used to be and how little they've improved.
And just the lines they were given, like, people don't speak like that in real life, and that was something that was for me really noticeable on this episode of the show.
It's like who talks like that?
That the written dialogue is holding performers back rather than helping them, and that was the case. And as a bonus, like the women's tag division, like there are no tag teams. There's Toxic Attraction,
why is it still there?
And there's Chance and Carter. So there's no new challengers. We have to go back to Toxic Attraction, which I don't think anybody really needs to see.
No one in the right
again.
mind wants to.
So there's no prestige to these belts when there's no teams. The only other team I think would have been Yulisa Leone
but they're like really low
and injured, so they're done.
Injured, right?
So there are no other tag teams that I can actually think of. So it's kind of ridiculous to have a championship for that division, but whatever. Another Resthold.
They should have just kept the main roster ones tri-branded. Like, I remember why they introduced these ones, but like it's still stupid.
I felt really bad for Wendy Chu because she was upset after her loss against Cora Jade, and she was sitting in the ring like basically crying or whatever, and the camera's literally zooming in on her for quite a while, and one of her fake eyelashes had traveled down her face and was stuck to her cheek and just sat there. So I felt kind of bad because I don't think that was on purpose. It kind of looked silly, but the match itself was okay. I will say Cora Jade makes far fewer mistakes than she used to. Like, her matches are at least clean now, whereas before I would be laughing at a couple things every match she had, right? Um, Rest Hold, Apollo Crews segment, again, lines that don't sound natural and take me out of the segment. He's basically talking about he wants the NXT championship. I think he's Braun Breaker's next challenger, but just
Yeah, he is.
saying it a way that people wouldn't say it, right? So I don't understand. It just takes me out of these things. Um, a high spot for me was a subtle tease of Ivy Nile maybe having issues with Diamond Mine. So Ivy Nile had just beaten Kiana James in an okay match. The Creeds come out because they're fired up because Indushir have been attacking them, right?
Oh
So
yeah, Dynamite's still a thing.
so they start talking about that, and Ivy doesn't seem impressed. Maybe that they stole her spotlight or whatever, and she seems to be quietly telling them that they should talk about this later, or I don't know what it was, but basically she's not happy. And I thought it was really subtle and a little bit interesting. So I did like that, and I think they need to start doing more with Ivy Nile, including giving her some longer matches, because I think she's probably ready. So that was a little bit of just a subtle thing I liked on the show this week. Then we get to the big rest hold, which I'll let you talk about. So that is the debut of Scripps. So if you're not watching NXT and you're not listening to anybody recap it for you, Scripps has been like teased for weeks now as this. He leaves cryptic voicemails that are sort of like menacing, then has been graffitiing the outside
Which
of
apparently
the...
is based off of someone who actually got arrested for that.
Oh, really? And then like took control of the Trons and audio at some point to leave cryptic messages. So this is the big reveal of this character this week. So go ahead, describe
They're wearing
Scripps
like
for
a
me.
stupid black and orange outfit, and it's like the dumbest mask of all time.
It's like a black and orange
It looks
outfit
for Willow.
that you buy from like the party store.
Yeah, it looks like Willow's mask, but worse.
And just the worst mask you could ever see. And then he's like walking across the barricade, making a gesture that's supposed to be him like writing, I guess, but it looks so stupid.
It's so stupid.
so
And to
stupid.
make it even funnier, it's Reginald.
It's Reggie.
It's Reggie from 24/7. Like it's him.
And then the match itself was just him being an acrobat, right?
Which
and
is
doing some cool looking
Fine,
stuff.
but it's not that.
But it was an awful,
no.
awful debut. Like they can't keep him in that outfit. They can't, right? They
It's
have
not
to.
okay.
They
It's
have
like
to,
when Cross had the like stupid Spartan
I'm
helmet.
sure. I assume he's gotten killed on the internet for this.
Oh, I've seen it. It's really funny.
Yeah. So awful, awful stuff.
Yeah, it's like really.
They have to do something to change that. Another rest hold was Schism in an in-ring promo. They say their usual nonsense.
Oh my God.
Again, more scripting.
James Drake looks cool because now he looks normal, but like, Zach Gibson still looks stupid, and I still hate the gimmick.
So they transparently call a friend or a fan into the ring, and you know exactly what's happening, right? They end up putting him through a table. Gacy actually used a rock bottom to do it, which is kind of funny, as Rock's daughter's sitting right there.
And that gimmick is rock bottom for their careers.
I guess the point of this is they're trying to drive home that they're no longer recruiting people, and they're looking to just cause damage to people, right? So that's fine, but I feel like this could have been accomplished a lot more quickly without everybody having to speak and say cryptic nonsense every time they come out. But anyways, I thought a high spot was a segment with Braun Breaker out fishing, basically sort of humanizing him a little bit and adding some depth to him where his hobby is getting out and fishing, and basically it's his escape, right? He can just be another guy out on the water. He's not Braun
Right.
Breaker. And basically he finishes up kind of by saying once he beats Apollo Crews, you can find him back out on the lake. So like I don't
So
think
now he's a fisher.
I don't think it was amazing, but it kind of shows a bit of range for him, right? That he's
Right.
more than just whatever, the wrestler guy. So I thought it was cool. Another high spot that I actually showed you was the Charlie Dempsey vignette, right?
Oh yeah, I really like that.
Very much adopting the Thatcher gimmick where he's like,
Oh, imagine them together. That would have been so cool.
that he trains for performance and all these other people are training to look good on Instagram. And when they're worried about choosing their outfits and stuff, he's already done 5,000 squats. And he trains like the old school wrestlers train by just using their body.
In a deck of cards.
Right, in a deck of cards. But he's sort of built for performance, and that he's going to take all of these beach body guys and just stretch them out. And I thought just a really simple, believable gimmick and character. Again, very much Timothy Thatcher, but we liked it with him, right?
I love
And
Thatcher.
We're sorry to see him go, and I didn't think I would, to be honest.
No.
So
It worked, especially back in that NXT.
I really hope they focus on Dempsey. See, he's a guy that I think is right for the NXT developmental part, right? He's already good, He just needs to figure out what character he's going to go with and put together some matches and get seen. So I really like his kind of old school grappling style.
Oh,
So
I love it, but I don't know if that'll get him
I
the main
know.
roster.
So I'm hoping they're starting to give him attention. So I hope they do it. Highspot was actually the tag match between Pretty Deadly and Chase University, which was Andre Chase and Duke Hudson this week. Solid tag match. Got
Well,
lots.
who else is it? Bodie Hayward's gone.
He's gone. Got lots of time, like 12 minutes. Pretty Deadly ended up winning with the spilt milk to Andre Chase.
After Duke
Hudson
accidentally booted him.
He got taken out, getting run into the ring steps. So Chase really showed a lot of technical ability here. Like, he's not a rookie. He's been wrestling on the indies forever. I'm guessing he's like 12 to 15-year veteran. So he really is showcasing some of his in-ring skill here. And something about the Hudson thing is working because he's trying so hard to convince you that he's a babyface, but everybody is like coming up to him like Waller.
It's one of those things, right?
And somebody else going like, come on, man, we know you're... And he's like, no. And so you're kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it's made Hudson a little bit interesting because he hasn't been for quite a while. So, because he's super adamant that he's all in on Chase U, but everybody is basically skeptical, right? And then it's like Andre Chase is a little bit naive to assume. So we'll see where it goes, but a little bit interesting. And then the biggest high spot, I actually wrote Resthold, which is not true because it was the biggest high spot this week. And that was the main event, which was Wes Lee successfully defending the North American title with a clean win over Carmelo Hayes with a Michinoku driver.
Michinoku?
So,
yeah, Michin.
Right. A really, really good match. Just two ridiculous athletes flying around, really working a fast pace. I think Carmelo Hayes, he's a megastar, and I think his star power, he outshines Wes Lee, but Lee looked great here too. And I assume that this loss is going to put Hayes into the, what's it called? The match name that you can't stand?
Iron Survivor.
The Iron Survivor, and I think he should win it, and I think he should be the heel to take the title off Braun Breaker. If I'm booking it, that's where we're going. Carmelo Hayes is a star, and he looks amazing with a belt, and he's got a good act going with Trick Williams right now. So this match was excellent. Wes Lee gets a quality win and a defense here too, because he's doing a really good job as well. Character work is not anywhere at the level of Carmelo Hayes, but it's definitely better than it was for Wes Lee.
Mm-hmm.
So,
especially because like he kind of had that bad luck with the whole Nash Carter thing, so he's
right,
gonna pick
and
it up.
It's actually working out for him, so that's nice to see. So the main event was excellent. The tag match was good, and then it was just other like standard NXT 3-minute matches that weren't super exciting. So that's all I had for high spots and Restholds. What do you have this week?
I just had a few from Raw.
Yep.
There's high spot. I saw a bit of a Rollins promo, which was pretty good. It was kind of a heel promo because he was like talking about like asking when people like he was talking about like when people mess with him, they kind of get hurt, like trying to make a name off him. He mentioned like Cody Rhodes and stuff. So it was like because they're listing him as a babyface apparently.
Right. That's what I was just gonna say.
But he did a heel promo. Like it was good, but it's just kind of weird.
Right.
And then another high spot was the Kevin Owens promo on Raw towards Reigns too. He's just kind of reminding us of the history. Like he's gonna be the guy to like take him out and stuff like. And I don't know. It was, I'm not doing it justice, but it was really good, and like the passion at the end was really good. Like it was like from face Owens, that's what you would want,
right?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
like,
he's fantastic.
It was really good, and
nice.
I think he delivered that really well. And then Resthold, you kind of saw this. I think it was from last week, but I don't know, or it was this week. I think it was this week. I don't know. John Gargano got a new theme, and then he jobbed to Omos.
Yes. Not cool.
Shame.
Yeah, not a fan of that either.
Stupid. Like, I thought Triple H liked him. Like, what happened?
Send him back to NXT. Let's go, because I'll watch him. All right, so we're gonna sneak in an extra segment right here because we're gonna take a look at tonight's Survivor Series, and we'll do a little bit of preview and make our predictions, and that's gonna happen right about now. Okay, I'm not even sure I know all the matches on the card.
There's only 5 because I assume War Games is long.
Oh yeah, at least it's an hour probably.
2 of
for
them.
Sure. Oh yeah, so crazy. Okay, let's go. That's gonna be hard to predict.
Styles and Balor. And so I took Styles because I keep seeing around Instagram that he hasn't won a singles pay-per-view match since 2019, so that'll probably play into it, like kind of like the Rollins situation that he had.
What's the storyline behind this? Do you know? Because I don't.
OC and Judgment Day.
That's it.
They've been feuding.
Oh, they have. It's OC,
well,
so I don't.
We also didn't watch them Saudi. So
correct. So I'm behind.
So Styles will probably get the win also because he took the fall to Balor in the Saudi match. Like Balor got him. So you saw that.
And just for difference, I will take Balor. Because I just read recently somewhere that Triple H really likes him and thinks that he could be
I'd like
this
for
reclamation
him to.
project and a main eventer. So at the sake of making this interesting, because I don't really know much about what's going on, I will take Finn Balor.
All right. Rollins Lashley theory for the U.S. title. I'm taking Rollins because he's my boy, but also because I think after all that's done to Theory, I don't think he needs anything. I don't think he needs anything back right now. I don't think he deserves the title right now. His reign was okay when he had it, but I don't think it was the best. And I think they did a lot to mess him up. So I think he needed to rebuild him, maybe some lower feuds right now. And I don't think Lashley needs the title anymore. I think he did a pretty good job evaluating it with Triple H's booking before Rollins, but before the Lesnar Rollins debacle. And his recent thing of just destroying everyone is kind of cool, but I don't think he should win here. And he's kind of above the U.S. title. I feel like it was kind of a demotion for him this year.
Right.
I think he should feud with Roman for a bit. I think that'd be cool, and like have him. Because with the thing where he's like just beating up everybody, why doesn't he like toss around the bloodline like a bunch of chumps? And like he's not gonna win it anyway. So like that,
Right.
at least it would have him at the level he should be at, and gives him some time. Like, cause he's still, I guess, a babyface apparently. So
Apparently.
he can just be kind of like a hard babyface against Roman. I think that'd be kind of cool. Just like kind of have a temporary feud for Roman, like kind of go into Royal Rumble with that. Maybe I think that'd be kind of cool. And I think Rollins has been doing a great job with the title. I don't want to see him losing it. I don't think he should lose it. I don't want him to lose it. And I don't think he's been doing really great with it. I think they should keep going for a bit.
I think I'll take Rollins as well. The only reason I think that he doesn't win is if they want to take it off of him to elevate him because they have designs on a larger spot for him. But it doesn't feel like that's
I would love that.
I know, but it doesn't feel like that's imminent. So I will also take him to retain because I don't see why.
If they were going to elevate him, they should have done that at Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber or WrestleMania or Money in the Bank.
So I don't see why they
everything I said
put it on one of those other guys now, because I think
I don't know. Maybe one day, but I think maybe once Reigns is out of the picture, then Rollins can be elevated. Cause maybe he takes it from, let's say, Cody wins.
Yeah,
he eventually takes it from Cody.
Yeah, that'd be a good feud to have going.
Right. So Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi, which should be a barn burner. I took Rousey because in what universe does Shotzi win?
I was just gonna say, is there a universe Shotzi win? So Ronda Rousey and let's say like under 5 minutes, please.
Yeah, I don't need a lot from this.
I don't need anything from this, especially if there's two like super long War Games matches. Like, just establish Ronda as dominant if you want. She wins really quickly and we move on. So it's Rousey.
So next, the women's War Games, which is Belair, Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, not Michin, and Becky Lynch versus Damage Control, Nikki Cross, and Rhea Ripley. So I took Belair's team because she's already beaten Damage Control a few times now, like Bailey, whatever. And Lynch just came back, so I don't think you'd want to have her lose. Yim is still fresh, so I don't think she should lose. And babyfaces tend to win more games.
I agree with all of those points, and I think that I would take the babyfaces here too.
Now, that being said, I'm going to kind of contradict myself here with the Bloodline versus the Brawling Brutes. Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens, which is the men War Games. So despite babyfaces winning War Games most of the time, I think we're going to go with the Bloodline here, which is a little risky, I think, but I also think it makes sense. I think a win here would make sense to assert the Bloodline's dominance again, and they're already a full unit. Like, this is the Bloodline. It's not like a cobbled together team, you know what I mean? And also, if you think back to the first NXT War Games, that was the only time a heel team won. I guess unless you want to count last year with the 2.0, because remember they were kind of heel.
Yeah.
But the only time that heels really won War Games was Undisputed Era winning the first one. That kind of cements. That was like a cementing win for them, and kind of like that's like the first.
Yeah.
And then this is the first one on the main roster, so I think this would be kind of a nice piece, like a major piece to the Bloodline's dominance.
And it's Reigns, Usos, Sammy,
and Sikoa.
Oh right, I forgot about.
And
Solo.
so I feel like it kind of would add to them, and like that's how you kick off the main roster War Games is like the Bloodline with this big win. And honestly, I know Sheamus has been really over lately, but I don't buy him as a title challenger really. And I don't think him and the Brutes and McIntyre and Owens really have much to gain from a win here. Like, I think Owens and McIntyre have already been done. The Brutes already lost twice as well. And Sheamus is Sheamus. So they really have much to stand for a win here. And also, as they say, I have a bit of a hope here. They could harken back to another War Games thing. They could harken back to Undisputed Era winning, like with the heel squad winning. But this time, I'm also referring to the 2019 Dakota Kai heel turn, because I think Butch should do the same thing,
was a Butch turn.
And Pete Dunne should become whole again, and then
whole again.
The Bloodline can win a little more easily. Unlike, because Baszler's team, when Dakota turned, Baszler still lost, but I think Bloodline should win here, and Pete Dunne can help out a bit.
I just don't see Bloodline losing. I know.
Exactly.
Again, you're right. They are a unit, right? And
And like they've been positioned as so dominant. I feel like the
unless they
They're
want to
f-
say this is the first like crack in the armor of
I
Roman
feel like the
sort of
dominoes will
thing.
start to fall, but I don't think this is it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So it's not very exciting. But I just don't pick against Bloodline
I
at this
think it
point. So
is Bloodline. Honestly, I want it
I'll
to be
take them.
Bloodline. I think that works too. And
They just trademarked all of that again
Pete
too.
done,
Bloodline
Pete
stuff.
done, Pete done, Pete
You never
done.
know. All right.
I don't think it'll happen, but oh man, imagine how happy I'd be.
So again, we'll probably just quickly recap it next Saturday unless there's something fantastic happening But if we didn't come down for Full Gear, I don't think there's much chance we're coming down early to talk about Survivor
Yeah,
Series,
that's what I was
right?
thinking.
So, but anyways, we'll move into our final segment as this is a beefy episode of the show right now. Jack will update us on the world of wrestling action figures and figuring it out with Jack. Pretty excited about that match you just showed me there before we get into the figures.
Oh, yeah, so Dance in Harwood next
That's
week.
fantastic.
That's bananas.
That should be super fun. But
Ludicrous.
anyways, talk about figures so I can get out of
so
here.
we got some new images for Elite 99, which is a pretty sweet set, all things considered. I'm super thrilled with certain things.
Yep.
The first one is
you were super thrilled yesterday
Queen
for sure.
Zelina in the white and red, which is definitely what I'm referring to. It's good. I think that scan's really nice. Like it looks great for a figure for her. Like I don't really care, but it looks really great.
And they could save a lot of money on plastic because she is tiny woman. We saw her face to face from about 6 feet away. She is wee.
Very so small.
Yeah.
Next we get Riddle, and like so he's got like these red, black, and gold trunks, which is solid. He's got like this purple Hey Randy shirt, and he's got black flip flops, and then the hat, and he's got a scooter too, like a functional scooter, like a tech deck kind of deal. So that's not bad.
Your brother would have liked that when he was younger.
Reused the head scan from Elite 78, so that's all right. Speaking of reused head scans, we'll get there eventually. And then we have Happy Corbin, and he's got like I don't really I think the figure looks nice, but I really hate the legs they use because they use like the Build-A-Figure legs, and I don't know, they look weird.
Yeah.
And then he's got like the Hawaiian shirt, he's got like the hat.
Nice.
But then you can also he's got an interchangeable head and a cloth shirt, so you can have Bum Corbin too.
Oh, nice.
So that's not
because
bad.
who doesn't want that?
Yeah, exactly. I do.
For sure.
And then we get the Seth Rollins, which is my favorite one of the set, of course. But I think it looks really nice. The only complaint is that they reused the Elite 45 head scan from the all white Seth Rollins, which you got me, and then that was probably 2016. So this head scan's like probably like 6 years old or something.
Laziness.
It's nuts. They just true FX'd it, so it looks a little different. Honestly, I don't know if it looks better or worse. I think it looks a little worse, but I think the ring attire
You like
is
the rest, yeah.
incredible because it's his SummerSlam 2021 look from when he faced Edge. It's got like that gold pattern kind of sprinkled through it, and then the kick pad detail is like
Nice.
incredible. It's got that weird knee flap on the left side.
Yep.
Which I don't know. It's weird.
Who else had that?
What do you mean?
There's a figure that had that I noticed recently.
What, like the
flap on the knee?
Did they?
I think so. Oh, maybe not.
Oh wait, the Chuck Taylor that had like the weird thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now. But like this, like the kick pad detail is like I don't know, what would you say, immaculate. Like the sculpting's really nice. It definitely looks like a new kick pad thing. Like, I really like it. And like the entrance coat's really nice too. Like I don't know, it's really nice. Other than the head scan, it's not great. But the upside is now you can just pop it off.
Right.
So
put on whatever head you want.
Yeah, and I definitely need to get the other Seth Rollins because there's 2 new ones I don't have. There's the 2 different red ones. So need to grab me those 2.
Need to.
Need to. And then there's the Brock Lesnar and the Cowboy Brock look with he's got the hat, which doesn't sit on quite right, but it's okay.
I enjoyed Cowboy Brock.
Lesnar side plate championship, and so it's like molded on, so it's like because there's the Amazon exclusive 3-pack where it's got like the cloth shirt somewhere, but it looks really nice actually.
Nice.
I don't really care, but it's pretty nice. And to my surprise, there's a Chase variant, a blue Cowboy Brock, which it's a little too bright.
It is very bright.
I still think it's pretty nice. And that's interesting because there's 2 Chases in the series, because you got Boogeyman, which is like his modern face paint look, and so I don't know. It's the head like I don't know, it looks like it sits a little weird, but I think the face paint looks really nice.
Yeah,
he's got like he's got all the bells and whistles, the clock with the breakable pieces. He's got like the necklace with the heart.
Yep.
And he's got like a stick, and look at it. He's got worms you can put in his mouth.
Gross.
And then he was the Chase variant we already knew about because he's got like this red face paint design with a tree on it, which I saw him wear on or WWE ECW once.
Yeah.
And so I like it because it's a unique look. Like I don't like 'cause it's just like the all red with the bit there. So I don't know, that's really cool. I think it's a really nice set. Like I'm the only ones I don't really care about are like Corbin and Vega, which they're still good. I just don't really care. Like I'd probably get the Riddle if I could find it because I wouldn't mind having another Riddle. I don't have a double jointed one yet.
Right.
Actually I don't really care about Brock either, but the Brock's nice actually. I might if I have like a ring attire version with that here, and then the Boogeyman's awesome because literally the last Boogeyman was like Elite 47 order, which I had, which is pretty cool. But so 2 Boogeymans, gotta get both of those, and the Rollins is just incredible.
Nice.
And I forgot to mention because that's a SummerSlam look now. Now there's only one SummerSlam attire that they have not made
Here it comes.
a figure of,
Get ready,
and
folks.
some would say it's inevitable.
And you snapped your fingers if you didn't hear that.
Yeah. Thanos, Rollins, baby.
Yep.
He needs to. Honestly, I'll take any Thanos Rollins other than the basic. The basic was pathetic.
Anger.
Okay. Moving on. And then they had 2023 top picks at least. So they've done 3 waves of 2023 top picks figures. And 2022 is not over. So figure that one out.
True. Good point.
Last series had the Rollins repaint, which is pretty solid. So this one's got Ronda Rousey from Mania 35. It's a solid figure, but I don't really care. The one YouTube guy's predicting it'll shelf warm, which I think is right. Because the other one of the ones we got is John Cena from SummerSlam 2021, with the 16-time champ look, which I think is pretty good. I don't really care, but
yeah,
my favorite one is set, which I would actually consider picking up, is Survivor Series last year's Survivor Series Lashley in the red tights, which I really like that. I don't know why, but I like having some color there, which is pretty nice. It's basically a repaint of his last 2 elites, but I really like the red tights, so I'll get that if I can find it.
Mm-hmm.
They also have top picks basics, which are lame because the ones AJ Styles is a re-release basic, which has to be like series because it's based off of Fastlane 2018. So
interesting.
Then this Brock Lesnar is a re-release of basic 136, which like just came out, so that's a release. And then Rock. What do I have next? Then there's the new 2-packs, which are just like basics with belts, which is the basics suck. You have Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, which I think is from Extreme Rules last year when there was only one Extreme Rules match, and I think this is when Charlotte destroyed the doll.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and so she's got like the half black Venom gear, which is kind of cool, and then Alexa Bliss is like black and which I think the Charlotte's cool. I wish they'd done a lead of that because that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Then there's Biggie and Lashley, which Lashley has like black chest with red logos, and Biggie's like it's literally a basic version of the Elite that they just came out with.
Oh, large Earl. Funny. I hope he's doing
large
okay.
Earl. I hope so. And then and so those have side plates titles with like Charlotte's side plates and Biggie's side plates. And it's weird the Elite Lashley has Biggie side plates too, because I guess they didn't want to do Lashley's side. That's weird.
Lazy.
And then Raw tag title with RK Bro, and Rail's got like snakeskin trunks, which that would be so cool as an Elite. Like people are saying that should be Elite. I agree, because I think that'd be really cool. What does I have next? I gotta switch references here. Okay, so next we have they showed the next series of Ruthless Aggression Elites. So you got Austin with a cloth shirt and camo pants. It's really ugly. Bischoff with the black jacket and blue pants, and he's got an alternate head for the prosthetic mask from the Billy and Chuck wedding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, and then there's that Austin. I don't like it.
That was a cool segment.
It's really weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
And then there's Taker with blue pants and a black tank top.
Blue pants.
And so they're weird choices, but I saw references. They're all based off of Jack's figures from like the time, like it's like around actual Ruthless Aggression. So that's kind of like those Ultimate Editions, the Rude and Roberts were based on LJ, and so it's kind of like that, which is kind of cool. Then we have Legends 18, which has Paul E. Dangerously in the green suit, which is pretty cool actually. It looks really nice. He's got the big phone and the ECW hat.
Oh, that's classic. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, Fatu, aka Rikishi.
He's
the
cool.
Samoan skirt and the giant bamboo stick thing. He also has Samu.
Nice.
And so
those are cool.
They're pretty cool. And it's weird that so the Wild Samoans, it's kind of like Elite 99, where I don't know if they're starting to do 2 chases or if it's like only a couple instances, because they both have chases for Wild Samoans with the floral pattern tights. And then I showed you this because I know you loved it. WCW Hulk Hogan.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah.
Christmas list for me.
I know.
Sure.
I already pre-ordered it.
Perfect.
Don't worry.
Thanks so much. I'll melt it.
You're welcome.
I'll melt it
You'll
down.
melt it. Nice.
Make something useful out of it.
Yeah. Then there was these ringside battle figures. Okay. There's ringside battle, which is like they're basics with like a bunch of accessories, which is kind of interesting. So you got Rock with like, he's got like a purple chair, which is weird, and he's got like a workout equipment thing, and then a kendo stick and a mic. So that's not bad, like to get some stuff. And then the one I like better is Rey Mysterio, basically, which I think it's Rey Mysterio from Mania 22 when he won the title. He's got like an orange ladder, which I think you could go through, and then there's like a barrier piece, a green trash can, a crutch. I honestly would maybe get the Rey Mysterio because I feel like the barricade piece would be kind of cool to use.
Yeah.
So, because you know AEW does that sometimes.
Yes.
Like at Full Gear, I guess they did that. So that'd be kind of cool.
They did.
And then there's a new Wreckin' place that's like, it's just like, they call it a Wreckin' Raw Arena. So it's got like a little stage with, which they did exactly before, but it's just like got different stickers on it. And it's got like an announce table, one of the spring-loaded rings, and then a table and a catapult thing. And it comes with Orton, Rollins, basically. So I think it's Orton, the white trunks, which is like a basic version of the Elite I got. And it looks lamer. And then the most bare bones Messiah Rollins I've ever seen.
Would it catapult Scripps into the ring? That was part of his entrance too, right?
Oh,
As a trampoline.
Ugh, so stupid.
It was amazing.
So bad. Yeah, and then the first thing they revealed, like I think the day before all this, was Mattel Creations exclusive. So you got to order it online on their website. I think pre-order soon is Ultimate Edition Logan Paul.
Yay! I'm sure
WrestleMania.
we'll order you that one.
Yep. So yeah, that's neat, I guess. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
That is a lot of stuff today. You weren't lying.
New Rollins. Woo!
Well, we're over 2.5 hours, so let's wrap this sucker up. I got to get out of here, but
you're lucky your thing got moved back.
I did. It got moved back an hour, and that's going to make it just perfect. So, hoping for a really good Survivor Series tonight. Cautiously optimistic, maybe. War Games matches are usually pretty fun,
that should be pretty good.
Hopefully they can find something. But we will be back here next Saturday for episode 123. Sorry, 124. This is 123. So we hope to see you back there. Bring some friends along. Tell some people about the show if you like it. We'd love to pick up a few new followers and listeners whenever we can. Appreciate any time you spend listening to us talk about wrestling. We'll be back next Saturday. And until then, take care.